gamers, and welcome to episode 455 of the Super Ultra Podcast Arcade for May 18th, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Daniel Nicholson. With me is my co-host, Dominic Stallworth. What's been going on, Dominic?
All right, man. Just living, playing games. But
The life of a gamer,
man,
Dominic.
But yeah, not really been going on much. It's been all right. It's like we're all just basically, I mean, as far as video games anyway, just waiting for the Summer Game Fest to see what's out there. It feels
so
for the
close
future.
now too.
Yeah, I'm a bit excited and also a bit scared because of just the state of way things are going with the industry as a whole. I'm just thinking like, man, am I coming to the end of me? Like, not the end of me playing games, but as far as just the way gaming as I know it. I mean, it's already changed, but I feel like it's about to be just a huge change happening. That's really just going to make things, man, it's just totally different. Like, but we'll get into that. All right, so here we are to what we were watching. So, what did you watch? You just watched Iron Claw?
Yeah, so the Iron Claw is on HBO or Max, the place for HBO now.
I heard it's pretty good.
It is. It's it's hard to say it's an enjoyable movie because it's very depressing. It's about the Von Erich family. It's a very famous wrestling family from Texas who had their own promotion. I think it was in the 80s, basically 80s into the 90s. But basically tragedy, the entire family, they basically said it was cursed because it was basically, brother after brother passing away. And this basically focuses the story around Kevin Von Erich, who I believe is still around, and his brothers who unfortunately passed away, suicide, overdose, things of that nature.
They go through all that?
Yeah, they kind of, it's kind of, I don't want to say a puff piece, but it's not, it's handled very like lightly. Like,
okay.
The first brother's death, he dies on tour while he's in Japan, leading up to a title shot that he's going to come back to the States and have against Harley Race. And that basically just happens like off camera. Like they get a letter saying, or get a call saying, this brother passed away. And then that's kind of, they deal with the grieving of it and everything. But it's not like, you don't see it. You don't, it's just kind of this thing that happens. And then following that, one of the brothers loses a foot in a motorcycle accident. That just kind of happens. Like, you see him driving real fast on the motorcycle after he's been having a whole bunch of beer. And then next scene, you see him waking up with a, prosthetic foot, or missing a foot. He's on crutches. So it's almost abstract in a way that it's like trying to be artsier than maybe it is. And I don't know if I'm coming into this like with this bias that like, oh, everybody was talking about how great this movie is. And I think it is a well done movie, but I don't think this is a movie that I would expect to see like nominated for Best Picture. It's not The Wrestler. It's not that kind of caliber of movie, but I think it is well done. And for people that aren't necessarily familiar with the story, it might be a little loose with the details for some people to follow. Like, I mean, it's pretty obvious what happens, and for the most part.
Oh, see, I don't know nothing about the story, honestly.
Yeah, so I'd be interested to see like what your take on it is.
Yeah, because I do want to. Yeah, I was thinking about watching it too, and then I was watching some other stuff. But yeah, that's only one of the movies I was going to check out.
Yeah, I think it's well acted. Zac Efron does a good job.
It looked like he really got buff, man.
He is, yeah, he did.
I mean, he was a nice shaped guy before, but this one,
Yeah.
Yeah, got big because I was like, wow. Because I was thinking, that looks like the guy from the High School Musical. I was like, oh, that is him. Yeah. I said, darn. It's like he must have been talking to The Rock or something. And
they did doing Baywatch together, so
yeah, I was saying, he must have called The Rock to baseball, but Rock was like, you ain't got enough muscle on you, boy.
Yep,
you need more.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good movie about a tragic, family basically, and the wrestling stuff takes a backseat, which is perfectly fine. I think it's just, that's what the life was. It's really about a family and a brother struggling with, his other brother's kind of demons basically, and his father's real hard on all of them. And I think it goes harder on the father, kind of placing the blame there than anything else. Not that
Jackson
that's
5.
What's that?
I was saying just like the Jackson 5.
Yeah. Yeah, the only downside, and people have made fun of this on Twitter for ever since it came out, the guy that they got to play Ric Flair is absolutely terrible, and it's sad. I think that's part of what brings this movie down, is like, outside of the main cast, which is basically the Von Erich family, the guy that plays Ric Flair gets the most screen time and talking time, and he's just kind of absolutely terrible. Now that still only amounts to about between 3 and 5 minutes. But when the cast is so small, he just sticks out glaringly as this, really bad spot in the movie. Speaking of wrestling and Ric Flair, though, Dominic, the only big thing that happened out of wrestling is Ric Flair got kicked out of a restaurant for being too drunk. He was about to start a fight with a bartender, and then some other dudes. I wonder
how many times has that happened in his life.
I mean, that's happened so many times. But the funniest part is the bartender's just not having it. I don't know if he's bartender or manager or something. He's just like, get out of here. I'm not trying to deal with it anymore. And there's a guy next to Ric Flair at the bar, and he's like, you want to take it outside? I don't work here. We can go outside. I'm like, Jesus, there's some dudes about to fight Ric Flair in the parking lot. Anyway, so yeah, I watched that. I did watch some of Godzilla. I think I'm about, 2/5 of the way through, not quite half the way through, Godzilla minus. But yeah, I'm excited to hear what you say about it, because so far, I mean, I'm extremely impressed. I think in the more traditional, less Americanized action-y flick, versions of Godzilla, I think this is easily the best thing I've seen. I mean, even including those, I think it's, better than those too, but it just has a different feel than those.
It definitely does. So this is the not the newest Godzilla, of course, but it's the newest Godzilla out of Japan. Put it like that. It's because now I keep forgetting, Kong Godzilla, Godzilla movie is another one that just came out. So this is supposed to take place. They call it -1 because it's supposed to be, or minus, I forget, but I think it's -1 because it's supposed to be the prequel to, I guess, what traditional Godzilla is. This is supposed to be happening right when World War II just ended, right after the bombs have fallen, and then I guess Godzilla is woken up. But it has more. But the story is, it's about a soldier who was supposed to be he was a kamikaze pilot. But as you know, he lived, so you're like, well, he didn't do his job. So, and that's really the story, is that him coming home and having to deal with the shame of that. And also, I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail. He did see Godzilla, also early on. Yeah. But it really deals with that, the human element, more so than just the monster. And it's really good though. Like the human, like you saw, like I remember when like some of the newer movies, some people would be like, "Oh, I hate seeing just the people. Like I wish they heard just show the monster." And
Yeah.
really, like for like some people, yeah, some people probably just want to see action, but I think for some people it's just because it wasn't that good.
Right.
The human part. While this, I actually like the story. I actually enjoyed the story of like him dealing with what he felt like as a failure, and being a coward or whatever, the shame of the war, and how everybody's dealing with the war and the fallout and things of that nature, and then having Godzilla come about too and dealing with that. But it really, yeah, it really humanizes, yeah, these characters where, and this is like the first Godzilla movie where I actually am rooting for Godzilla to die. Like
This is a more violent Godzilla than I feel like I've seen. Like it's not the modern Godzilla where it's like, oh, he's teaming up with King Kong. Like it doesn't. I don't know yet if they kind of explain it, but this is Godzilla that's just attacking ships and
yeah, exactly,
seemingly attacking people for, I guess, no reason. I mean, outside of setting off nuclear bombs
like
around
you say,
him
he
or
woke
whatever.
up and now he's saying like, "Oh, well, I went home and y'all in my way." So
Yeah.
I mean, and that's I think I read somewhere in Reddit. Some people say like he's not he's just looking at these people as just more nuisance, like they're just in his way,
Right.
and he's just trying to build a home, and he like. And I guess he was asleep and whatever, and that's what I want to know. I want to know, did the radiation or something make him get bigger? Or
I'm just
change
looking
him?
at the general like Wikipedia thing, and it's talking about basically the nuclear explosion mutating Godzilla. But yeah, what
Okay.
does that mean? What was Godzilla before then? Just smaller? Was he
Yeah, he was
Godzuki
small.
then?
He just lived in the water. I mean, or like he would show up on the island every now and then, I guess.
Yeah.
And nobody would really know about it because I mean, it was an island with village people. They didn't have like technology or nothing like
Right.
this, like or anything. So it probably was just like an urban legend. For maybe outside of that place. That's why I was curious. Like maybe it was that's what it was, and then it changed. He changed. And like, cause I'm thinking like maybe he couldn't shoot those things out of his mouth before, before that happened because of the radiation. And yeah, because I mean I never watched the old Godzilla, so I never knew like I'm sure the first Godzilla was just basic. I don't know what the original Godzilla was. Was it just him just being a monster? I mean that's what as a kid I always thought that.
Right.
But I wasn't really paying attention to the story and of when I did watch it. I was just watching him, the guy, in a rubber suit just destroying buildings. And so I didn't really hate Godzilla because I just thought it was funny.
Yeah. And now like you hear about it as like an allegory for the bomb and
yeah,
that whole thing.
And
so I guess
also I want to know when it got to.
That?
So when it got to these other monsters showing up, it's like, oh no, but Godzilla's helping humans. I mean, I don't know if he's like purposely helping humans, but it's just so that he's fighting these monsters though, but that are more of a threat to humanity. So I'm like, what? How did that story come about? Like, I mean, like, how did they make the story from him being a monster to not being a total monster? Like, what did they do with that? Like, I know what they did with the modern ones. I know how they did it there. They made it like he's a balance, like he's there, and like because he really doesn't attack the humans. He doesn't attack them unless unless you attack him. Like, yes, he has caused people to die because he's so big and he's just walking right through, but he's not purposely, trying to hurt people. But this Godzilla he sees people, he's hurting them. He is purposely killing you. Like, I mean, he's accidentally doing it too, just because of his size. But he sees these little things running around. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to kill him. Like stomping on you, like how I probably used to stomp on ants when I was little. Just purposely and just like burn ant holes and stuff like that. I want to know from that standpoint. But I would say it doesn't really go into the whole science of that. They really just stick with it's a monster here. We don't know why it's here. And which I mean, in reality, yeah, you right now you're not gonna know. Like you're just like the war just ended. It just ended, and you already this monster is coming and attacking you, and you just finally start building up places. You finally start building up some cities, and you're not even done, and this monster just comes. Like yeah, you're just trying to find a way to get this guy out of here, before you can just move on. So, but it's well done. Like I heard that somebody say it won an Oscar for special effects. The special effects are done very well, and in a way that it really gives homage to what the old show was. Like it's not like the Godzilla. He kind of had those. He has those dead eyes. Like you just see his eyes. It kind of looks like it's like almost like the rubber suit Godzilla, but a little bit more to it, like you can tell that it's not a guy in a suit, but it's but the face kind of has that face like it used to have and stuff like that. But his reaction sometimes he does move a little faster though. Like I think when a plane in one scene was a plane flying by, he like snaps at it and stuff like that. But they make him very like destructive. Like there was a scene where he did shoot, like when he shoots the stuff out of his mouth, it's like a nuke. Yeah. Like it's like a nuke went off, and it feels very powerful, and it's like, man, this thing is evil. Like you feel like he's evil. You just feel like he's evil, and like they gotta get rid of this guy. Like he is just going to kill everybody. And it's all dubbed. Now I don't know if it finally comes to America, because it's officially just out in Japan, and on Blu-ray. But I don't know if the American one was dubbed when it was in theater. I think you could see it.
I don't think so.
Okay. So basically, yeah, you're going to have to, it isn't dubbed. I mean, I'm sorry. It isn't dubbed. It is, you have to get subtitles.
We should make it dubbed, Dominic.
Yeah. But I'm fine with it. Like I can deal with reading subtitles if it's a good movie. Yeah. If it's a good movie,
I've definitely had to go back a couple of times and see what they said, just because like I'm so used to being able to do multiple things while I'm watching a movie, and this is one where I've definitely had to just sit there and pay attention. But they've done a fantastic job of like there's not really a lot of dialogue when the action is happening, so it's not like where you're looking like in an anime where it's like, oh, I want to see what's going on, and it's hard for me to pay attention to that while also reading the subs. It's mostly when you're having those human moments and you're paying attention to them anyway.
Yeah, and because I was reading some people comments, they were saying that this movie, if this was promoted, I said this movie, I wish it was promoted more, like it could have for more people to see it. And then somebody mentioned like, well, what about like people reading subtitles? They say, well, like with anime, so people really into anime, and that's somebody said that's a niche, and they say, well, it's just a bigger niche now. Right. I mean, it's more people who watch anime than ever before in America, but it's still a niche, and also then I think there's still quite a few people who would still prefer to not read the subtitles. I mean, I know like you huge anime fans want to read the subtitles, but I think most people still don't want to. I think in general, just read subtitles. Unless they have, like, some people don't mind, like me, I don't mind having them on even regular TV, unless there's that big black box that's over the words. Like, cause sometimes I just want to see, because I want to see, like, sometimes I might miss a word or something, but I'm not looking at it all the time, where it is anime. I'm going to have to look at it all the time, because I don't know what they're saying. I don't know the language. And this, good movies, yes. There because you had Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That was subbed, and it was a good movie. And I think it was a dub version when they got to DVD though, but in the theaters it was subbed, but people will there were people who will deal with it, but still but it all depends on the movie. You can't just put like anything out there, like everything out there, to be like, hey, watch it subbed, and something like that. it has to be something, like the movie has to have something there to it. I think what people will be into it. I don't think you just put everything out there, because if they could, they would have been done it. They would have been start doing that. Like they put some movies out there, but it's not at a wide screening. Like it's just in some places, because I know, especially like some Indian movies, I know it appeared in the movie theater I used to work at, Owens Mills. But that wasn't everywhere. It definitely wasn't at Insecurity. It was on Indian. That Indian movie wasn't there. That's why I learned that Indian movies, they always dance at the end, because I was always wondering, because I saw quite a few movies like I just came in at the end and I was like, this dancing is in Indian movie too. I said, what the hell is this? I was like, what the hell? I was like, is all these movies about dancing? And then that's why I saw like, oh, that's just something they do. I said, oh, okay. But yeah, this movie was good. I think I definitely recommend it to see, if you can see it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did watch it illegally, because it's not officially out here yet on Blu-ray, but I wanted to see it. So hopefully, I don't know if they have a date yet for the US version. Last time I checked, they didn't. So I think they probably, I don't know, holding out maybe. I think I heard some people say that if they had put out the same time in the US as Japan, that people from Japan would have gotten it from the US because it's cheaper. Or something like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I don't know. I don't know what the real reason is. But they could be like Nintendo and just do stuff for reasons that doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know. But it's like, but yeah, but most likely, yeah, that movie's going to come out here, and I definitely recommend watching it. It was a great Godzilla movie. It's probably one of the best ones I've seen, or maybe the best one I've seen. Honestly, I mean, I do like the newer ones though. I like the new ones that came out. And like I said, as the story goes, like I like the action. Like the first Godzilla, I like it. Like that had potential to be something better than what it was. The first Godzilla, they just dropped the ball with the human part. Like it started out good with the human stuff, with the whole Bryan Cranston and his wife dying, and them being over in Japan with that stuff. But then they killed Bryan Cranston and put down the son as the main star, and that wasn't. And nothing against that actor. I think he's. I don't know if he's a good actor, but I had no problem with him in Kick-Ass. Yeah, I had no problem with Kick-Ass. I mean, so
he's going to be great in the Craven movie.
But the dialogue was. I mean, not the dialogue, not just the dialogue, but the character that they made him be as when he was as a soldier and stuff like that was bad. It was pretty bad. I feel like they should have kept Bryan Cranston. It could have been a whole lot better writing for that to make it much more than what the movie is, because everything else was great. Like the cinematography and stuff, the whole Godzilla battle stuff was great. It was the human stuff was good at the very beginning, before you saw the monsters. But then we started seeing the monsters, the human stuff wasn't that great. Yeah, the human story wasn't that great. The human stuff was adequate for 2, King of Monsters. I mean, it was just fine. It was good to be there for an action movie. But I felt like Godzilla 1 could have been like really good if they actually had a good story for him. Or I definitely think it was a waste to kill Bryan Cranston. Like that was a fucking waste.
Absolutely.
All right. So what else did I watch, Daniel? Because I left this page here. Okay, here we go.
Also watched The Judge and Ides of March.
The Judge. The Judge is an older movie. I think it came out 2014. It stars Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. He's a lawyer who's a big time lawyer, like defense attorney, who's like he's a lawyer. Like he's your stereotypical defense lawyer kind of guy. But he was born in a small town where his father was a judge, and he had a fallout with his father. His father was like an honest man, so he doesn't like the kind of lawyer he is, even though he's successful. But he's coming back because his mom died. He's been gone for like 20 plus years from the town, Robert Downey Jr., because of the falling out he had with his father, basically. He has 2 brothers. I know his marriage is basically over because his wife had cheated on him because of his work and things of that nature. So he's getting divorced. He has a daughter. But it's a good story about him, like his going to his mom's funeral, and his dad, something happened. His dad got in a car accident, and it's believed that he killed someone, and now people are thinking he murdered him. Because it was a guy he had put away for. He had put away in jail. Well, actually, he had released the guy. The guy, he only gave him 6 months because he said he believed in the guy. He said the guy could get better because I think the guy was like attempted murder on his ex-girlfriend. He was a young dude, but thing is, after those 6 months, he actually went and killed the girl, drowned her, and now he finally got out of jail. And now it's a suspicion that he actually ran over the guy. I mean, he hit him with the car purposely to kill him. So now the son is defending the father, who was a judge, and it's a good story, man. I really enjoyed it. I don't really remember it when it came out originally. I just saw it on Netflix.
Yeah, I saw the cover and I instantly remembered it coming out, but yeah, I completely had forgotten about this movie. Just seeing it on here, I was like, "What is the judge?"
And I was like, "Oh man, it was good, man." Robert Duvall was good. The guy who played the judge, I forgot his name.
Robert Duvall.
Yeah, Robert Duvall. Yeah, he was great. Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Because this was 2014, so 10 years ago.
Think so.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was a couple of years ago that he passed away, but I could be wrong.
Even Kingpin is in here.
He's still alive. He is 93 years old.
Wow. Kingpin is in here. He's like Downey Jr.'s older brother. Okay. I forgot the guy who plays his younger brother. I know him.
Is it the guy from
it's
Succession?
From the TV show I watched.
Because I see him on the cast list. That's the only reason.
Oh, that's him? I thought he was another dude.
I don't know. The older brother from Succession is in it. I don't know if that's his. No,
that is the guy from Succession then.
Okay.
Yeah, that is him. Okay. And he plays a guy. He has some type of mental condition. Like he's a little slow. I don't know what he got, but I know he's always filming. He's always filming like people with like an old camera, like those old ocean cameras. So like he records with it and then he puts it in film.
Should have been filming his dad so he could have an alibi.
So well, I mean, I think the dad did hit him. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, that's spoiled. We don't know. We never see it happen. We never see it happen. But the thing is that he do it on purpose. I think that's what that's
motive,
what. Yeah. So anyway, I definitely recommend if you haven't seen it. It's on Netflix right now. Just like one of those top movies at the time when I was watching it. That's the only reason I think I got to see it was there. And then I started looking at all the movies too on Netflix to see what's there. Even like HBO Max too. I was going to start watching movies. And then I started watching Eyes of March. Eyes of March is a political movie with Ryan Gosling, George Clooney.
Oh, now I remember this one too. Yeah.
Seymour Hoffman. I've seen this before because when I started watching, I was like, oh, I've seen it, but I haven't seen it since it came out. Yeah. And this is back when I was getting movies for like Oscars, like screeners, and I was that's why because I didn't see it in the theaters, then if you had no Oscar screeners, used to get online. I used to download them, and I think Eyes of March was one of them, and it was good. Ryan Gosling is like one of the campaign managers for George Clooney, and he's under Seymour Hoffman. This is one of Seymour Hoffman's last movies, I want to say.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Seymour Hoffman was a good actor, man.
Yeah,
like he was good, and it's sad that it came to that. Now, was it really like was it a suicide or was it just he died for an overdose? Was he trying to commit suicide or what?
I don't know. Let's see if Wiki.
But still, it's just one of those things. I'm just I feel like, man, these people who have these demons and stuff that I just wish it didn't happen. Yeah, he was good in this. Everybody was good in this. And also the woman who she's the main character in Westworld. The one of the white woman who was Dolores in Westworld. I I didn't realize that she was in this movie because when I saw it, because when I watched it again, I was like, that girl looks like the girl from Westworld. And I looked it up and said, oh, it is her. I said, oh, so I did see that woman before Westworld. Yeah, and she was in this too. She was like an intern on there, but it deals with like some kind of the political stuff with George Clooney. Something happens, and basically the main character is Ryan Gosling, and it goes to something that happens really big with the campaign. Basically, I don't want to spoil too much. Because I don't remember how the preview was, so I don't know how much the preview even tells you because I don't remember it. So I don't know if it's really a spoiler or not. So I'm not going to say nothing about it. But yeah, it like something controversial happens in there. But I will say this one thing, like it becomes like a falling out, and like Ryan Gosling is in the middle of it and stuff like that. But it's good. It's a good movie. I don't know if it won anything. I think it was just nominated. But yeah, it was pretty good. And that's it. Yeah, that's all I really watched. I mean, I watched some other like television shows and stuff, but I'll wait for that. I know I watched Doctor Strange again, this time in 3D. I don't think I've seen it in 3D the first time I've ever watched it. And the 3D was pretty good. Yeah, the 3D was really good.
Nice.
In Doctor Strange. I liked it. And I started watching this Batman animated show. It's based off of the old Batman television show with Adam West. But it's a cartoon, and I want to know if this is like one of Adam West's last Batman stuff before he passed away. I forgot what it's called. It's called like the Cape Crusader or something, but it is hilarious because since it's like the old cartoon, they make fun of it. Like, they like make fun of it in a way of the writing and stuff. Like, Robin and them were to run across the street, and he stopped Robin. He said, "Hold, Robin. Say jaywalking is illegal." To the crosswalk, and then they run to the crosswalk. He was like, "You're right, Batman." He said, "Yeah." And then you see them go to the crosswalk and just walk across, and like they wave to the cars and stuff. I was like, "You fucking kidding me?" And then yes, and all the Robin's lines are like, holy something. Like he always says something like it is good, man. Like it is funny. I didn't finish watching it though, but it is hilarious about how that happens. And then I was wondering what Catwoman they used. I think they used the original Catwoman, but then like when Batman got hit, he started seeing all the Catwomen that were there. They used to be cat so or something like that. And then like she clawed them, and like it supposed to be some poison that she could control them. And Bob was like, "Fight it, Batman." And he was like, "No." He was like, because she said join them. He was like, I will not join you, or something like that. He said like, "Yeah, see, Robin, my will is strong for justice." It's like a justice. I was like, yeah, it's funny. It is a funny, like lighthearted Batman. And I mean that's how that Batman show was, and they kind of make fun of how Batman was such a goody two shoes. He was such a goody two shoes. I still remember the first episode, like when I saw when he got in the car because he was at a party and he was drinking. This is the original Batman show, and like and then like the cop stopped him. He said, "Batman, where are you going?" He said, "I got to go after like some bad guy, something like that." He said, "But Batman, you were just drinking." And it's like you can't drink and drive, and he can't drive. I said, "You got me fucking kidding me." I mean, it was ridiculous enough that he was dancing, at a party, but then the whole drink and drive thing, I'm like, "You fucking kidding me?" It's like a vigilante. Get the hell out of here! Oh man. But yeah, I think like give that show a chance if you see it, because I didn't even know it came out. Because see, the problem is
was
with
that
the Wikipedia.
On Max?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm just trying to find like what it is, because I'm struggling to even find what it is based on the description.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think what year it came out. Was it 2016 or 2014? Return of the Cape Crusaders. That's what it's called.
Got it.
Batman, yeah, it came out. Oh, it did come out 2016. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the list that was on Wikipedia, it got 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. Damn.
Oh wow.
The list that came on Wikipedia, it has some movies. Like it's some anime, like I put like WB anime movies so I could see which ones were out, and it didn't have that one. I went to another list because I was like, it's a movie I've seen before, and I said, why is it not on this list? And then when I saw, like, oh darn, it's been on quite a few movies. Some of them were like really kitty movies, like Batman, I think, versus some kind of robot thing. It's like a really, it's like a really kid, like it's not really. I mean, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it, but it feels like it's really for a younger crowd.
Right.
Not
it's
like the
Spidey
other
and
anime
his
movies.
Amazing Friends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, darn, is it? I don't know if it's like that. I mean, I didn't watch it. I just saw a little clip of it. So maybe it is. Maybe you learn some shit too, how to be friends. But this, I mean, hell, you learned something in this one, Dan. Return to Kikisa. But that's more of a joke. It's more of a joke. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I remember seeing this art style now, but I completely forgot that was the thing that happened.
All right, so what do we got here? I think that's it. So I guess we're talking what we've been playing. So what have I been playing, Daniel? Oh no, you go first.
I was gonna say you want me to go first. You've been talking for a bit. So I played. I'll first talk about Braid Anniversary Edition. I was feeling nostalgic for this game. You know, hearing all the talk around the release of it, and I wanted to revisit it. I thought about buying it on Steam, and then I saw that it's actually included as a Netflix game. So I actually downloaded it on my tablet, and I was able to just plug in an Xbox controller and play it on that. It runs well enough. It is scaled down. Like I did notice some slowdown if I turned it up to like 100% resolution, and that does it at like 2K or whatever the tablet resolution is. The tablet is just like a Samsung A9 or something, whatever their lower tier thing is. I got it for just like media consumption. But it looks good. It runs smooth. It's one of those games where you look at it and you're like, this is just the way this game looked. Like, what do you mean? This isn't like remastered or anything. But they do have the ability for you to just press in the right thumbstick and it takes you back to what the game looked like. It's got like that mode in it. And it's a lot blurrier. The textures are a lot blurrier.
I think they purposely made it blurrier, Daniel, just to make it look like they did something.
But yeah, I'm in the like fourth and fifth worlds now, and it's definitely getting a lot more complicated the way the puzzles function, and now I'm to the point where like the enemy's movements are tied to your movements. So if you move forward, they move. But if you move backwards, they, go back in time. So basically, if I jump on like their equivalent of the Goomba, if I then go back to the left side of the screen, they come back to life. So I'm definitely not remembering how these puzzles worked out. That's for sure. So I'm definitely struggling a little bit now to get some of the puzzle pieces, which are, some of the more. Like, you can just go through the levels for the most part, but then to get the puzzle pieces that actually like piece together the story and whatnot. We know your feelings on Jonathan Blow, and I think mine are not for the same reasons, but I definitely have my own feelings about Jonathan Blow.
What's your reasons? I didn't know you had feelings.
He's just kind of a shitty person on Twitter nowadays, Dominic.
Oh, really?
He's bad opinions guy. Yeah, I mean, he's always been kind of a like douchebag, even when this game came out and watching, was that indie game, the movie or whatever it was, that documentary that he was included in. He definitely comes off as kind of a pretentious piece of shit. And then couple that with his very bad
a white nerd
nowadays. Yeah. Thanks, Alan. I'm glad to know I'm pretentious. Yeah, so like definitely taking this game with kind of a grain of salt, especially knowing like how the story in this game goes. It makes you look at it maybe with a different perspective. Originally it was just like, oh, this is kind of clever and subversive, but I don't know. I think maybe there's more to it than that. So I'm kind of divorcing, my thoughts on him from playing this game. Really, for me, it's just about the nostalgia. This is one of those games that was,
No, you're
one of the
promoting him,
biggest
Daniel.
early
You're
games.
promoting
What's
him.
that?
Stop.
I didn't give him any money, Dominic. Or at least I didn't give him any money that he hadn't already gotten from Netflix. So yeah, for me, it's just kind of the nostalgia. Like you were talking about, like the way gaming is going, and I am definitely finding myself more and more like reverting back to games that I'm nostalgic for. Even when there are new cool games that look neat that I could spend that time playing. Games will always come out and there will always be cool new games, but I very much feel myself retreating into kind of this, past nostalgia well. But with that said, in not a similar fashion, but a small indie game that came out, Animal Well. This is a game that's available for no additional purchase as part of a PlayStation Plus premium, I think, whatever the mid-tier level thing is. It's included as part of the library for that. There's been a lot of praise around this. This is the game that is being published. It's the first game published by Donkey's publishing arm, Big Mode, or whatever that's called. It's Metroidvania. So far, it seems like relatively simple as far as controls go. Just kind of movement and jumping. I have gotten like a bubble power that like lets me shoot out bubbles and then I jump on them. I'm basically like this little blob exploring these like it's pixel art, but it uses lighting in a very unique way that makes it feel elevated, I guess, is what I'm looking for, over just like your normal indie pixel art game. It does a really good job with that. I haven't gotten in depth enough to find myself like doing any backtracking or using a power that I've gotten to then go back to an area. Really, everything is just, I wasn't even quite sure it was a Metroidvania at first. I thought it was almost like pretty linear with maybe a little bit of circling around, a little more open. But it definitely seems like, from what I've heard now of people talking about it, that it's going to be something that's a little more kind of evolved and almost like Fez-like in mystery form, which is a thing I always heard talked about. But I got stuck in Fez during the time that everyone was having the discourse and never ended up completing that game or getting to the point in that game where like people were really talking about it. So I really just missed a lot of that kind of discourse, I guess. And nowadays, I just don't feel like that's something I'm necessarily interested in engaging with. Like, heard a lot of people talking about, oh, you might want to jump on a Discord and discuss this game with people, and that's just not the person I am. But as far as like the basic mechanics and the visuals of this game, from playing about 30-40 minutes of it so far, like it definitely pulled me in. Like it's visually stunning, even though it's got a relatively basic art style to it. So, and it also sounds like one of those games that's made by like basically one person. I think the thing I keep hearing is that it's like super tiny too. Like the animated wallpaper on the PlayStation for Animal Well is bigger than the game itself, which just like technically is a marvel to me. So because it sounds like you can play this game anywhere between like 5 hours to like 25 hours or something like that. So it's really cool. definitely recommend giving it a shot, especially if you have PlayStation Plus and can try it out for free effectively.
Yeah, I definitely want to try it out. All right, so the games I've been playing, I tried Destiny 2 because Destiny 2 having a big thing this month because before their next big
Shapes and
expansion
Colors is coming out soon, right?
Yeah, so they have it so that some of the other expansions are free, and I know PlayStation is a big one where they have, I think, all of them are free until the release of the new one. And
Gotcha.
but I've been playing on Steam. So I did see that. I don't know when they did it because we're not doing Destiny 2 news or anything, and they do have it so that you can join. Now you can join a party on
for like raids and stuff.
Yeah. Now
Cool.
I didn't do it for raids. I did it for wherever the thing's smaller than raids.
Okay.
Basically, I don't know, strike a team or I forget what it's called. 'Cause I think they're confusing with goddamn Halo jargon. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
But anyway, so I had joined up with some people, but it was I don't know if they had it on the harder level. I don't think it was the normal. Or maybe it was normal and it wasn't easy, which I probably wish it was easy. Because when we got to the end, but we just kept dying, man. We just could not figure it out. Because I would just get dying like 2 shots. And it was just so tough. I think we've all figured out how to stay alive longer. Like we're kind of like using our healing abilities. So like somebody put down a healing ability while we would start shooting and whatever. I was lower powered than they were because I didn't have the I didn't have the equipment than them. But one guy was only a little bit higher than me, and then one guy he was really higher. So luckily, when you keep going back, you can sometimes enemies will drop weapons, so they'll at least drop something that was stronger, and then it definitely helped. So we'll get a little further, man, but then you get to a point where somebody gets shot a couple times, bam, die. And sometimes, like, I would just start and just die, and I was like, damn, this is too much. This is too much for me to just get shot a couple freaking times and die, man. What the hell is this? And then it might happen to them, or they got like, and then I didn't even realize that there's a timer, like, it's a timer on their death. So, like, if the timer runs out where you didn't pick them up in time, it'll end. See, I didn't realize it until, like, probably a few deaths in, because one time I was alive, and then the game said ended. And I was like, what happened? I said, I was still alive. I didn't die. And then I realized, oh, we have to pick each other up. Like I was thinking users going to stay there until, they pick you up. And you got to rush to get them at a certain time or the match will just be over, which I'm like, come on, that's not fair. It's like, that's not fair. Like, because I'm trying to, if I go over, like, this moment, I will die. So why can't you just let it so that I can have enough time to go pick him up, man? I mean, like, don't time me on that. But whatever. I think we ended up just stopping because one dude quit, and then this other dude just kept playing, and then he quit, and then I just quit. So, yeah, it was, but it was cool that you can do that. So it's like, now I know, like, okay, I can just join people matches now. So that's cool that they finally put that feature in, like, how many years later? And I'm including Destiny 1 in this too. So how many years later?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's just yeah, it's good that they finally did that. But yeah, I'm curious what like how long will Destiny 2 go on? Because after this one, I mean, the way that this expansion sounds like it's final, but I didn't see it say final. Like this is going to be the final expansion. I forgot what the name of it was.
But it final shape.
Yeah, it sounded like it's his final shape. It can be the last one, but I didn't see it say this the last expansion, so I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to just.
I feel like the rumors are basically that they've wound down production on that. I mean, obviously, we talked about like the layoffs at Bungie and stuff, so yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised.
Winding down doesn't mean it's over. It just means they wound down until they start hiring back again, and then they still continue it. It doesn't mean it's over. But yeah. So I mean, because I've been playing the shooter. I want to be playing the shooter, but not so focused on story. I just want to jump in, and I was like, yeah, I'll just do Destiny. So I still have it on my PC. And yeah, I might keep playing it until it gets to a point where it feels like I just either get bored of it or I feel like okay, I can't do anything because I didn't buy the expansions. Like if the expansions were really cheap, honestly, I think I would have bought them. But they're not cheap enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm talking about cheap. Like I'm gonna pay $20 for all of them except for the newest one. I mean, I understand that it's the newest one, but that's what I wanted to get to a point.
And by newest, you mean the one that's about to come out, not
yeah, about to come out. Yes.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna play $20, like just for all of them. I don't want to play. I forgot what it was when I saw because I think it was pretty steep price. It was like a full game price, which it probably is worth it. Somebody will say worth it, and you're right. It's just not worth it for me.
Yeah.
I played some more Have a Nice Death. I was playing that some more a bit. I got to like the second boss, and I got to a point where you can just fast forward to the first boss, so you don't have to go through all of it again. So at least I got that. I got the second boss. I think I beat the second boss, but I think I died like right after. Also played some Orcs Must Die 3, which is on the Game Pass, and I mentioned it before I played it, right? I think I did, yeah. But I played some more of the campaign, so I wasn't playing with anybody, and I was just going through that. And I mean, it's an alright game. Like, I mean, it's something you set traps up, you get these orcs coming in. It's basically tower defense, and tower defense. You have horde mode, and whatever you want to call it. You go through rounds. It could get boring though. That's the thing. Like I have fun initially, but then I get bored. I mean, even I guess playing with somebody is great, but it's like even as I play with somebody, I have played with other people. It's like I'll just play that section. I don't feel like going on anymore. Like I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like I'm done with the game. Like I'm done with the game. Yeah, it's just that the game for me is not much there to keep me going. Even though they have things where like, oh, you level this up and stuff. I just it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's okay, and I don't know how much it costs. But like it's a fine game. It's just not something where it keeps me playing for hours or so. Like an hour at the most, and I think I'm good. And then I play some more Ayuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. I've been playing that a lot. Like I've been playing, going through that game, doing a lot of extra stuff. They got a cool card game here that kind of reminds me of Marvel Snap. Whereas like it's Marvel Snap mixed with poker. Like they have like a flush. You only get 3 cards though. Like 3 cards in each position. You have three positions, and you can put like you have three positions, just like how in Marvel Snap is. But you're going to have to play 3 cards in each of those positions, and then they kind of total up your points. So you have different colors. You have red, blue, green, and yellow. And then you have numbers that go up to 9. So you can do like a straight, which is like all nines, or I mean not all nines. I'm sorry, a straight, which is all the same colors, or a straight flush, which is straight same colors and numbers all lined up like 9, 7, and 8, and it's all reds. Then you have it's just a straight. I mean, it's just a flush with just I forgot what the flush is. I forgot the colors. The colors or just the numbers in order. I forget. Yeah, I'm not that good with poker lingo. I know what's worth more, but I just don't know what the lingo is. But anyway,
Yeah.
but still, but it goes like that. And then you have special cards, which like you have your basic cards but has nothing on the front of them. You start out with those cards, but then you have these special cards that have characters on them and they have special abilities. Like it'd be like, hey, this card is a 1, but it can turn into a 9 if each of the cards in this location are different colors, or something like that. Or if there's something that's the same color, or there's all even numbers, or things of that nature. And then or they have abilities that can do something like give you some more power, things of that nature. It's cool. It's a nice card game, and I've been playing with that for a while. And I was like, yeah, because I remember the days of Final Fantasy VIII of the Triad game. I used to play that game a lot. And then Final Fantasy IX had the quad one, which is because the Triad was 3x3, the quad was like 4x4. It wasn't as good as the Triad. I like the Triad because it was simpler. The quad is making things a little more difficult, but it was still fun. And then, of course, you had the card games that came out later. You have I did like the Blizzard one a bit. I know you probably liked it more than I did. You was playing it first, and I got it after you. But then I really liked Witcher 3 with their card game in the game, and then they finally came out one of these days I keep saying I'm going to go back to. I was going to go back to it on Xbox, but that's gone. I mean, I think that's gone, and the story mode I think is just on the PC. So one of these days I'm going to go back to that game because I did like the story. I just stopped. And yeah, with this game, they kind of like harken back to the days of having card games. They also got fishing and stuff in there too. The fishing is pretty simple, but it's still fun. They also got another game like Chocobo Racing. They got this racing these big fat chicken looking things there, and I haven't really started that yet, but I am going to get into it. So I was like, darn, they got this in the game. Yeah, I was like, wow, they really this is a big game. Like this is a big game that kind of gives homage to old JRPGs, and it's a good story. And I'm thinking this isn't done by Japanese people, is it? Because looking at some of the pictures, I mean, maybe they could be Japanese. They look like white dudes though. Like maybe the pictures just like maybe I'm just too small and I can't tell. Because it's like something in the game where you see a picture of somebody, it says his name, and it wasn't a Japanese name to me. So I was like, is this game done by Japanese people, or is it just...
Looks like it, yeah. Looks like it's heavily Japanese.
Oh, then I don't know who the hell that guy is. Maybe he just has an English name.
Maybe.
Yeah, because the picture guy said, this is blah, blah, blah. And I was like, they don't sound... And it wasn't Japanese at all. I don't know. But yeah, because I was thinking it was done by some of the guys who worked on Sudaken. I mean, or like have worked on it or something. At least some of them. So yeah, this game is definitely but the story is pretty good. I mean, it's all right story. It's not. I'm gonna say it's great or anything, but it's fine. Like I have no problems with it. The dialogue is now some of the actual. Not the dialogue itself, but the spoken, like the actual spoken dialogue, the actors, some of them, it feels like they're phoning it in. Like, I just hear them talk, I was like, yeah, they didn't really try with this. But thing is, some of these characters you're not going to hear a lot. You just hear them because you got them. They're one of the 100 heroes you can pick, but they're not one of the main characters. So it's like, I'm not going to hear them talk that much anyway. But still, I was like, oh, like some of these guys, you can tell, like, they put like a lot of work into the voice acting, but sometimes even the main character, like some of this sounds fine, but sometimes even then it sounds like, it's not that great. But then again, if you really don't like the voice acting, you can just turn it off because it is just like an ORPG where you just read the dialogue, I mean, it comes out the way anyway. It's just that they talk during the dialogue prompts, but yeah, you could just play like an old dialogue but it hasn't become unbearable for me. So I just leave it on. But I have finally got to a point where I can freaking fast travel because I was scared, like, are they not going to have fast travel in this game? Because I was like, I had to walk all the way back to these places. I was getting tired of that shit. And then I finally found the person who does it. Like, you can recruit her. And I was like, oh, thank you. Damn. All right. What else have I done in the game? I think that's it. I like the battle system with the hero combos. Like now, since I got more heroes, I can see what combos they can do. I kind of wish there was like a little bit, like, cause certain heroes can do combos with each other. I wish there was still more combos between heroes of that nature. But I do like that you can basically choose your team when you go out. Like, unless they're part of the story, they will have a lock on them, so you have to have them in your party. But just mix up the teams a bit, man, just to see like what the different characters can do is pretty cool. But I think eventually you'll just probably just find your team that you want that has the abilities they want, and plus you probably want to get people who have a combo that's really beneficial to you too. So like, but see, some things like I like certain characters, but they don't really have combos together, and I was like, but I might just say fuck it because I'm cheating anyway. So I was like, it ain't gonna hurt me.
Yeah.
But I just like those characters. That's why I kind of wish that there were more like characters that could do combos with other people. And maybe you can later in the game, but see, it usually does. Once you get a character, it tells you like, hey, this character can do a combo with this character, these characters when you get them. Unless you didn't like, if you didn't collect the character yet, they won't tell you. They won't tell you that. But like, I can see that. Okay, this guy, yeah, it's pretty much going to be it. Like, there's not going to be that many combos with this person. It's only going to be with this person that they can do it, which is I mean, it's cool. It's fine. I guess for this game started as wasn't it a Kickstarter or something? So it was one of those things. So for what it came to be, hey, good job. I think it's a good job.
Yeah, that's impressive
for what they did. So that's it, man. So I guess we take a quick break. We'll get back. We'll get to the flashback segment.
All right.
And we're back. So now we're flashbacking to. We're skipping 2014 because there was nothing worth mentioning that came out within these last 2 weeks since we've been done the podcast. And we're also skipping 2004 because there's nothing 20 years ago because there's nothing that's really worth talking about that came out in 2004 within these 2 weeks. So now we're going back 30 years to 1994, and this was I don't know how long after this got established from when Sony was working with Nintendo. They was gonna work together to build like a new CD drive or something, whatever, Nintendo or some technology, whatever. And
the Nintendo PlayStation.
Yeah, and then Nintendo said, nope, we don't want to do it. Based on
laughed in their faces.
Yeah, based on this thing, it said they tore it up. They tore up their contract or whatever, and they threw it at them.
Wiped their butts with it, and then they threw it at them.
And then Sony said, well, we're just going to do our own thing. And they established Sony Computer Entertainment. And then eventually that became the PlayStation.
That was the downfall of Western civilization, Don.
Yep. Yeah. So that's when another Japanese company came about, man. And so then we had like 3 companies basically that eventually came out. It was Nintendo, Sega, and Sony with the PlayStation. And yeah, man, it was just a Japanese market at the point. At that point, it's like video games are Japanese. While you have some studios that are American, they'll be on those consoles or be on PC. So basically, yeah, that was it. And the world was okay with that. But I wasn't, Daniel. It's like I was joking. The world was, until then Microsoft said no.
That's when you unleashed Godzilla.
That's about, and the Microsoft said no. We're gonna come up and we're gonna get into this market. And yeah, the Xbox didn't do that well, but hey, it did have some great things going for it. And it did help establish really like online gaming for consoles. And then the 360 was like one of the best things ever to come out of out of the Xbox camp, or some people say, well, Microsoft, who hate people who hate Windows and love Apple, or Linux. But Sony, yeah, that was the start of Sony, and yeah, I was a Sony guy, man. But back in the day, man, I was a big Sony fan. Like I loved the PlayStation. Like I loved the N64 because I got that first because of Mario, and that was it. Because N64 for me, there was nothing. I had nothing. Like there was nothing I truly wanted. Like Turok came, but there was a lot of games on PlayStation I kept seeing happening, and they were cheaper. And it wouldn't break my dad's bank, and then I played with my friends, and I was like, wow, they got this nice basketball game up here, and the sound was better. The sound was better than my N64. Yeah, and absolutely. And I used to get angry. I was like, man, but I got 64-bit. And then my friend said, it's not really true 64-bit. It's two 32-bit processors. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're saying. I was like, that means nothing to me. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? He's like, I don't know what that means. But like, I'm just a guy in 6th grade and shit. I don't know what the hell that shit means. Like, I just know 64 was more than 32. So that's why I want to know why I wasn't doing better. But
they had the CDs, Dominic. They had the space,
and so they so then I eventually got a PlayStation because of Final Fantasy 2. Final Fantasy really brought me over. I told my dad, "Hey, I want a PlayStation now," and they
stole that from Nintendo, Dominic.
And I got.
How's it feel to have that blood on your hands?
And I got a PlayStation, got Final Fantasy, had NBA Live 98 because that's when they still do that now. It was 97, but they always do it the next year. Most of the games are that year, so that made sense then. It made sense. Baseball didn't make sense when they used to go a year ahead. It'll be 2000. They'll say Triple Play 2001. And it's like, this don't make sense. You don't, because they wanted to be like try to be like
in the
Madden
calendar year,
and them because they didn't want to keep up because people want to get confused. Like, why would they get confused?
Sound a year behind.
I was like, why would they get confused? It doesn't make sense. You're in 2000. Why would you have Triple Play 2001? It's like, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, and eventually they got it right with baseball. But yeah, I had that, and what was my third game? I had 3 games. That my third game, I forgot what it was. A demo disc. That's what it was. It was a demo disc. But no, I thought it was a third game I had, or maybe it was just 2 games. It was just basketball and that, and no, or maybe I had some on N64. I'm not sure. But yeah, the PlayStation, man. That it was great, man. I really enjoyed it, and I became a guy who was just all on in PlayStation. When PlayStation 2 came, I didn't care about the Dreamcast. I didn't care that some people had it and they said like, "Oh, look at these graphics; they're so much better than PlayStation." I said, "Yeah, they are better than PlayStation. When PlayStation 2 is going to come out, I mean, it's going to kill it." And it did. Even though Dreamcast had its stuff. They had some good games, man. And it's just unfortunate for Sega. They should have they just didn't want to be with the US team of Sega. That's why I think that's really was their failure. What happened in Genesis. And then when I saw like Microsoft, I was thinking, I really thought Microsoft, the Xbox wasn't going to do nothing. Like, I thought it was going to be one of those things that come out and fail. The Nintendo GameCube, I didn't never think it was going to fail. Nintendo, and I had no reason to think Nintendo was going to fail. I just thought like it was going to be PlayStation and Nintendo again, and that the Microsoft's going to have an Xbox, and I was like, oh, whatever, it's going to fail. I was surprised what Microsoft has done with the Xbox, and I was like, I would see the sales and see like it's down. So, oh, look at that. I say, oh, they don't have Grand Theft Auto. Ah, ha, ha. And I used to laugh at him. Laugh at my friend because he got an Xbox. I said, why you get the Xbox thing? I mean, he said because he said he wanted to be different. And then he'll just talk about how faster his Madden was loading up compared to mine when we used to play at the same time on the phone. He would say like, hey, I'm already in the game. And I was like, I don't care. You got the failure box, whatever the hell it is. But eventually Microsoft had a lot of money, so they can afford to stay losing like that, while other companies probably couldn't. And then they got 360 going. Then that's when I stopped, man. I wasn't a PlayStation guy anymore, because then I grew to be an adult, and then Sony wanted to charge $600 for a system, and that's what killed it. That's what killed it for me. If the PlayStation 3 came out the same price as the Xbox 360, the 2 versions they had came out the same price as the 360 was, I would have still been in Sony's cap. I would have still had a Sony PlayStation. I would not have had Xbox. I would have been jealous of some of the Xbox games, definitely. I would have been jealous, like, damn, I like that Gears. Like, damn. But I would have got a PlayStation just because of what I knew from PlayStation history. But the price kept me away from them. That's what it was, man. That's the only reason. And I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why Xbox One didn't sell too. I mean, that's not the biggest reason. I think that's the biggest reason. Now, saying the Xbox was the same price as PlayStation, I think PlayStation 4 still would have sold more. I think it still would have sold more. Because in Europe, PlayStation was becoming more popular again. Because Xbox started out big, I think because of the price. They started big because of the price, and then when PlayStation finally went down,
They also came out a little earlier too, right? Was it a whole year?
I think it was a whole year earlier. Yeah, it was a whole year earlier.
Because they basically cut bait with the Xbox, and they were like, "Well, this didn't work, but this one's gonna work."
Yeah,
and it did. I mean, that's what the rumors are now. That basically Xbox is potentially gonna try and just put out their next thing, sooner than PlayStation can get theirs out.
Yeah, because 360 came out a whole year later. It came out a whole year earlier than both the other consoles, Nintendo and them. But Nintendo was different. We didn't know what the fuck we was going to get with them. And then they come out. Then when we heard the price, because they came out with that price, then it was like, oh, you could get an Xbox 360 and a Nintendo Wii for the same price as one PlayStation 3. So yeah, man, the price is what did it. And it's just that's why I find it weird. I think there is a conspiracy of like some consumer gods, like and who are in the background down here, who control the market, and they must have told Microsoft, you're going to have to sell your system $100 more than Sony's for reasons I have no idea, because they are gods, Daniel, so they are beyond our thinking as regular sheep who just buy stuff. So they, for whatever reason, they just told Microsoft, like, yeah, you're not going to do well this generation.
Because they had to forfeit. That's the thing. They got to trade generations down.
Yeah, but they ain't trade this one. This one is still PlayStation. But this one overall, I might as well just talk about it now, since we ain't got much to talk for a segment anyway. This generation overall it's a disappointment to me. It's a huge, like a huge disappointment.
Especially if we're talking about like the mid-gen refreshes, and like I said with the Xbox, like potential new console 2 years away. Yeah, like this has been a nothing generation so far.
And I thought last generation was still, maybe
it was down.
Yeah, it was down. It wasn't, I want to say bad, because we had some good games that came out, but it was down though. It was down compared to the one before that one, the PS3, Xbox 360, and the Wii/Wii U generation, whatever. But yeah, this generation. Now you can look, if you want to look at the Switch. I mean, yes, the Switch as for money, but I'm just talking about as gamers, as people who play games, enjoy games. Like even the Switch is pretty bad because the games don't run that well on it, as they could if there was a more powerful system. Like, that's disappointing to me. Like that games that are coming up or you know what? Here's the thing. Or either I was lied to how powerful the system was. I thought this was equivalent of a 360. Why are the 360 games coming on a system that are being put on, like they're coming back for the Switch version? Why are they worse?
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense to me. So that's what confuses me. It's not really just their games that are not even running well, like how Zelda, the remake of what's it one?
Link's Awakening.
Yeah, how that just didn't run as well as you think it could, or even Breath of the Wild, like it could look better. But I get it, like say but it's on the Switch, it's not going to look like they're doing what people see on PC, or if you ever ran on a Xbox or a PlayStation. It's fine, but yeah, that's something that slowed down is not great. But the games that are not doing that much, and the games that are just being freaking what's the word? I don't know why I'm forgetting
ported.
The word. What'd you say?
Ported.
Ported, yes, ported. Why are they not good? Why are they not looking good? Like that, I'm sorry. Like, that's no excuse. And then with this generation, I mean, look at the games we got. I mean, look how many games have come out. And then PlayStation, it's the best-selling system between the Xbox and them. They're the best ones. But that is, and I don't see that as being good though, because that's just like, man, they're selling well without really having any games. And when I say yes, they had games, but most of their first party games, the ones that are great, they were on the PS4 also.
Yep.
Like Spider-Man 2 was the only one that's like a really great score, and it was just exclusive to PS5.
Yeah, because the biggest thing was like Ratchet and Clank, but it seems like nobody really cares about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Because
don't get
Ragnarok
me.
came to PS4, Horizon came to PS4. Yeah, like all the big titles that they've had.
And then the games that we even have that were exclusive, not necessarily first party, but from third party, they just have it up there. They just did it because of money, because it wasn't because they couldn't run on last systems. They just didn't want to optimize them because they
Yeah,
damn sure don't look as great as. And then when I see them on these new systems, they don't look that good. Like like they could
yeah,
look like I think they could be optimized to look even better. Even I'm not saying like graphically they put more work. I'm saying if they did some optimization or something, it could have probably looked even better on a PS5. But they just probably put it to so it can work. It could run well-ish for some of them, or even for the good ones, it runs well. It runs good. But it could have been. But I look at it like, darn, this game could have been on the older console if they were just at the optimized. So I don't feel like it's a leap. Like yeah, now, yeah, when you say, yeah, they're like PCs now, like more PCs than ever. Yeah, but to a point where it's just, yeah, it's just now it's just coming to the optimization. and
yeah. I
and
think that's kind of it's the detrimental point too, because yeah, now you're like I can't see this drastic difference between these consoles. It's almost like, oh hey, I got a new graphics card, and now I can run it at a higher resolution, or I can turn on the shadows that I've had to have turned off to run it better on my system. It's not these leaps and bounds that we used to see, and you know, maybe that's just the power of I mean, where we are on like Moore's law or whatever. It's like we can't grow exponentially anymore. But like, doesn't that mean we should use our creativity to evolve games in a different way then?
yeah, and then why games so cost too much then? Like, oh,
Because we're just dumping everything into the you know, production values. That's so real quick to kind of jump into the news, but also continue this conversation. Like, it's official now that the Switch 2, you know, is a thing. You know, it was announced on the financial calls that it should be out before March 2025. There's nothing more than that, but we do know that it's backwards compatible. We have heard that they've got a version of Breath of the Wild running natively on this system. What does that look like? Is that a full price game? Is that a $10 upgrade? Is that a thing like the Xbox? It just runs better because now this hardware is capable of it. I can only hope it's the latter, but like with Nintendo, what is that going to look like? And then with the $70 price tag on games nowadays, and Nintendo theoretically having to move into a higher production value tier, you know, now they're going to have things that can output at 4K. Like, I don't think their mobile screen is going to be 4K. I'm not even necessarily convinced that it'll be 1080p, because we can see on the Steam Deck that you don't necessarily need 1080p to have a quality screen, especially with the OLED version. But most people's TVs, at the very least, most people's next TV purchase is going to be a 4K screen, right? So they've got to, if they've got this hybrid thing that docks and then goes to your TV, they've got to have something that looks halfway decent outputting to a 4K TV. And I'm imagining at least a portion of that heavy lifting is going to be done by NVIDIA's technology with their DLSS or whatever, that kind of stuff. But production for Nintendo games is going to increase in cost, and that's absolutely getting past us, right? Like, these games are going to be $70 default, right?
yeah.
We're gonna see 1-2-3 Switch or whatever the launch title is, come out at a $70 product and then remain a $70 product for the 10-year life cycle of this stupid fucking console.
And it's ridiculous because they don't go down and they don't go sales, man. Like, I have no
No,
problem I'll be like, I'll just be patient and say, okay, oh, $70. It'll be some games like if I really want them, I'll get a $70 game. But then others, I say, hey, I'll wait. Then it just never go down. And see, it's not to the point where, well, I might as well just get it. No, I just don't.
Yeah. Because something else comes along and can occupy your time. And it's like, okay, well, maybe I'll get around to that eventually. And you just never do.
Yeah. I just don't.
It's like Yoshi's Woolly World or whatever. It's like, oh, yeah, one of these days I'll get around to, maybe getting that if I find it cheap or something. No, I'm just never going to play that game now.
Yeah, that's what comes down there for me. And like that, which is, it's sad that my Switch is going down like that. Like, that's just what it is. Yeah, it's just that I just never play it. And I don't feel like I'm missing out because I feel like there's other games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would love to play it, but I don't feel like it's worth it. I won't feel like, hey, I finally got to play it, I bought it, but I'll be like, I paid $70 for this, or it was $60 for that, but that's like, for that, what the fuck? That's like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah, and that's part of why, like I said earlier, like I feel I'm going to find myself going backwards more than forwards. Like I'm excited about the Switch 2, and I'm excited to see how going backwards, see how games from the Switch play on that. I would love to be able to go revisit Link's Awakening again. Like it's so funny that was a game that I would play so frequently on the Game Boy, and it's like now there's an updated version of that, but I still find myself going back to the Game Boy version, not so much because of nostalgia, but just because like I don't want to deal with the like slowdown and like why is this here? Like the frustration that comes along with it. Like this is not a game that looks like it requires that much power. And then that just pushes me into, the darker realms of the internet. Like with the whole 3DS shutdown stuff, I heard so much about, oh, now that their store's offline, like it's so easy to mod your 3DS and get what they call the H shop, which is just basically the eShop, but free as it turns out. And it's like, now I'm looking at that stuff and it's like, oh, maybe I would be interested in going back and playing, one of these 3DS games that I missed. Especially because it's like also a system I feel like I can kind of show my daughter and get her more involved in as she like evolves in her gaming ability. It's just, it's so, the appeal of being pulled forward into this future of video games with their higher fidelities is just like not that appealing. And then you have games like Animal Well come out that's like, I could have fit this on a floppy disk, and that catches everyone's admiration. Meanwhile, you've got games that companies spent literal tens of years on, and they just come out and flop. Like hundreds of thousands of dollars went into this company to make this game, and just have it fall flat on its face. And that's like, I guess we can use that as a transition to the news that we missed not we can
just go back to news, man. I'll just put like flashback / news in the category.
Yeah, it all melds together. But like, and I'm kind of glad we didn't record last week, because I feel like I would have just been like had a slightly more reactionary take. Like I don't feel like I've dulled really on my feelings about this, but there are things that maybe I wouldn't have immediately considered. But Xbox, Microsoft, Xbox, the game studios, they shut down Arcane Austin, who worked on Redfall, and of course Dishonored series, and Tango Gameworks, creators of Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo, as well as Hi-Fi Rush, which, as of last year when that game released, and some people were saying, maybe it was kind of a disappointment sales wise. They came out and were adamant that no, it's not. And they were happy with what it was. And I feel like they should have been happy with what it was, especially with the way they treated it, coming out with a shadow drop. I don't know how much that game costs to make, but it seemed like a smaller project that shouldn't have cost, AAA style budgets.
Exactly. Yeah.
Basically the
should have
ideal
advertised it.
game. Yeah, exactly. Now there's some complications there, like Tango Gameworks. Shit. Now I'm blanking on his name. The guy that created it also worked on all the stuff at Capcom and everything. He left. So obviously there was no like name value now attached to Tango Gameworks. They, didn't really have any series outside of Hi-Fi Rush that were like grand
Shinji
scale.
Mikami? Shinji Mikami?
Mikami, yeah. Shinji Mikami. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, so he did leave, Now, from what it sounded like, though, when they were talking about this studio around the time of Hi-Fi Rush, it was like he had taken a back seat and was kind of helping younger developers find their footing, and game designers, game directors, I think that's the one I'm really looking for, game directors like find their footing, and that's how Hi-Fi Rush came about. When you have your footing in Japan, and Microsoft has had very little footing in Japan, but Tango Gameworks was based in Japan. Like, what are you thinking coming off of basically your only successful game last year, shutting down that studio? Now, we at the same time we can kind of pivot and not to move away from them, but Arcane Austin, obviously Redfall was kind of a disaster. But when that game released, even Phil Spencer was out on his apology tour basically saying that Microsoft had not stepped in soon enough. They did not help. It was kind of their failing that led to the shortfall that was Redfall.
Yeah, because I kept hearing things like with Redfall, it was almost like they almost like they kind of was pushing them to push it out.
Yeah.
Like,
and now a correction. I think I said earlier Dishonored was Arcane Austin, but I think Arcane Austin was actually Prey. They did the Prey remake, which at this point is like a cult classic. It's Arcane Leon who did the Dishonored and also Deathloop, and they're the ones working on the Blade game. But it's not like Arcane Austin hasn't put out a good game. So let me just clarify that. Now, is that brand burned because of Deadfall? I guess maybe that's the thing there. There was also maybe some leadership that had previously left before even Redfall had come out, and maybe Microsoft didn't see the worth in keeping that name brand around. You still have Arcane. You have the main Arcane. Maybe this is the EA lesson of maybe don't take that one successful studio and then apply their name to every studio. I'm sure there are complications here outside of just, Microsoft deciding they put out bad games, so we're going to shut them down. So maybe that's a little more charitable of a take than I would have maybe gave them last week. But at the same time, this is Microsoft we're talking about. You just gobbled up Activision, and you're shutting these studios, especially Tango Gameworks, who again put out basically your only successful game last year, a critical success, and a game that theoretically is one that you need. You need these filler style games, especially with Game Pass, to fill out that roster. You don't want every game to be a game that is a quote unquote AAA, quadruple A game that's going to take a decade to make and hundreds of thousands of dollars. You want these things that you can fill out the roster with, put them in here, slot them in there, fill out, build up your catalog more. 'Cause we've been talking about this for years now, that Microsoft has just announced game after game after game, and it seems like we're going to get more announcements at Summer Games Fest with Gears, which Gears makes sense, but at the same time,
I thought I have like
I can't
4
help.
games by now.
I can't help but look back at the Perfect Darks, the Fables.
Yeah, I thought I had like 4
the
or
games
5
that I
games
can't even
now.
think of. Yeah, I can't even think of now that have not come out yet. And it's like, what are you guys doing over there? And is that a Phil Spencer problem? For the longest time, Phil Spencer came in and we looked at him like the guy that was saving the Xbox brand. And I don't know if this is a Phil Spencer decision. I don't know if this is a, higher up in Microsoft position.
But he's the face we see, Daniel.
It's not even that. He is the face that we see, but also he is in charge of the Xbox division.
Yeah.
And if, like he said, they aren't helping these studios that they're purchasing produce the games that they need, then that's on him. That's on him. That's on the people that he's hired below him to manage this stuff. But at the end of the day, the buck stops somewhere and it's going to be with him, and that's what I'm kind of missing out on here, right? Because we haven't gotten any sort of statement out of Microsoft outside of the one woman who's at the top of the leadership as well with him, basically saying that, to ensure Microsoft or Xbox's longevity, we had to make these decisions. But like that's an easy enough thing to say, like, oh, we did it for a reason, basically. Like that's how that comes off to me. And I feel like, I don't know, dude, are we owed more transparency than that? Is it, if they came out and they said, okay, we're shutting down Tango Gameworks because Shinji Mikami has left, we don't have the name value attached to that studio. These past couple of games that have come out of that studio have not really hit. We still own these licenses and would very much like to, have someone work on the next Hi-Fi Rush. I don't know, you get Rare to make Hi-Fi Rush 2 or whatever. And we're going to bring in some of the people that made that game what it is and put them with whatever studio we get to work on it. Does that make this decision easier to digest?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe for some people it will.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously it's still about people losing jobs, if you're looking at the basis of, but as like a gamer, as a guy that's looking for when my next Xbox game is going to come out, a guy that's trying to justify his Game Pass subscription, which almost feels like it's harder and harder. It's getting harder and harder to do.
Yeah, it's not getting better. I put it like that. Yeah. Like you can still justify just Game Pass for just, hey, you're still getting a lot of games to play. Yeah. But now it's just that now I'm looking like, Microsoft's like first party stuff. I was like, when is the games coming out? Y'all got these, look, y'all bought I heard y'all got Activision and Call of Duty and stuff. And I'm like, oh, so when, there's a whole catalog of games. Like, when are they coming out? Yeah. And then,
meanwhile, I got Senua's Sacrifice too, and nobody's talking about that. That comes out next week, Tom.
Yeah. I forgot to mention
that's not gonna hit.
I did start. No, but I never thought it was a game that would hit anyway, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I feel like that's the only game that they've been treating like it's gonna hit. But I guess that's only because that's the only game they have, right?
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was more of a every time I heard him talk about Senua's Sacrifice, I was thinking it was more of like a goodwill to like the gaming community part, not as far as popular people like my friends. They don't know nothing about that fucking game.
Sure. No, I mean, I know we've always talked about it as like a filler game, right? Like we almost looked at that game as like the same way we look at Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
But I feel like for how long Microsoft has talked about that game and for how often it gets, 5-minute segments in their shows, that maybe they thought it was going to be bigger.
Or they were going to
is.
make it bigger because maybe it was like, oh, they're going to make this game a whole lot bigger than what I thought of the first one as. Like I started playing the first one again. I forgot to mention that in Games of Play. I'm still at the very beginning though, because I was like, since the part just about to come out, I kept saying I was going to play the first one, and maybe I need to. I just forced myself to do it, so I just forced my ass to do it, and but that's the thing, because I was like, I hear the game community stuff talk about the first one, but I never thought it was like a game. Excuse me, that will be like, oh man, this is
mainstream,
like with the public or something like that. Like this is just something amongst like gamers, like people who's really into this shit, that will be into this. So maybe Microsoft was going to. I mean, the only thing I was thinking is like Microsoft's going to make this bigger than what the first one was, like that I thought it was, and maybe it will get out there. I don't know. But that now is coming out next week. I'm not really seeing much on it. Maybe I'll see a commercial on it when I watch these NBA finals or something. I don't know.
And it also just looks expensive. Like that game looks like it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just them doing a good job, but I can't help but look at these closures.
It's going to next year. We're going to see
side eye these guys.
Next year we're going to see that the studio is either closed or, I don't know, broken up or something.
Yeah.
Like
because Bleeding Edge didn't hit. That
I don't even know what the heck. Like Bleeding Edge, I'm just finding that weird that it was even a thing. Like I just want to know, like, how did that come about?
They were like, we also need a sort of Battlegrounds type thing. How can we be different? Oh, we'll make it Melee. I don't know. But like to go back to the justifying the Game Pass thing and like you said with the catalog of Activision games. So like following these closures, there was a lot of talk of like, oh, well, they might not put Call of Duty in Game Pass this year when it launches because, they're looking to make more money. From what I saw, the Wall Street Journal reported that it will be coming to Game Pass, but all of the like leaks and rumor stuff that I look at is just like several sources saying that it'll come to Game Pass, but we're going to be seeing some changes to the tiers. We're going to be seeing some price changes, and that might be where I get off, especially because I think it's so funny. They don't have like a yearly subscription thing. So like now when I see $18 coming out of my account for Game Pass, it makes me think about that. Whereas if I paid, $180 or whatever off the top, that's a one-time purchase that I got to think about whether I want to do or not. But then I did it. There's really no going back after that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's how I usually look at those. But like, if every month I'm seeing $18, oh, now it's $20. Like, do I use this enough to justify this? That's so I not only do I find it funny that they don't have a yearly option, I can't imagine the price of this going up, especially like, I don't know if there's some tier where it's like, here's all the games for Game Pass and Call of Duty. It's like, I'm definitely not giving you more money for Game Pass Ultimate that has Call of Duty.
No,
like, and I don't know how many people are.
I'm sorry, man. If it goes up, man, it better just be Call. I'm sorry. Don't put the freaking old Call of Duties up there. Like, not just one.
I mean, they'd have to at that point.
Like put the old Blizzard, some of the old Blizzard games. Like, I'm mad that the only game put up there from this damn acquisition is Diablo 4. Now, I'm happy that is a game that's currently the newest
happy
one.
That's on there, but
it's the newest one. I'm happy that it is. Like that is cool. But there's a lot of other games, man.
Yeah.
Like, dude, put some games out of here. Like,
where's Crash? Where's Tony Hawk? Like, those are great, just filler games for that service. It's not something that somebody's gonna like buy the service for, but you know what? It might be something that I keep the service
and like,
for.
yeah,
just
I get, and like start with the ones that at least are backwards
Hawk.
compatible. You know, because I know, yes, some of these games they aren't like, yeah, if you're going back, some of these games weren't even backwards compatible when backwards compatibility was available. But then I don't care. You then at that point work on them too. Work on them, you son of a bitch. You got all that fucking money, man. Go. Like, make it. Come on, man. It's like this is bad because this is bad because like if Game Pass starts going down below its worst or something like that, this is bad for all gaming for me because that means PlayStation can continue doing stupid stuff now, and Nintendo. Well, Nintendo is just going to keep being Nintendo, and then PlayStation is going to be like, because they're always think it's stupid that they kind of requiring people to on the Steam to do the network thing. I mean, I know why. I mean, I have suspicions of why, but they want your data so they can sell it. But it's like, why? But it's like, if PlayStation was really like threatened by Microsoft, like in a sense, they wouldn't even probably bother with that. They probably wouldn't bother with it. They were, or it'd be some easier way. It'll be some easier way that will happen, and then there will be more game, and then the games will probably be day and date or something like that on PC and PlayStation or something like that, because it's like, yo, and maybe it might come to that. It might come to that, but it probably would have happened sooner, and their service will be, then the PlayStation Plus service will be a lot easier to come by without having a console. Like I say, hey man, you can stream these games, or hey, that are there, and then hey, part of PlayStation Plus, you can get the PC versions of our PlayStation games, or something like that. And they won't leave. Like Horizon is about to leave, or already left. Is either about to leave or already left. Horizon, the newer one, the PlayStation Plus thing. One of those tiers, the tiers, whatever it was on. That's the one you had. It's like, that's the first party game. Why are you leaving? Like your sales of that game is, you're basically at the point where the sales are like are pretty much gone. I mean, they're not gone, but they're on the low end. Like, you're not going to get that much money for that game anymore. Like, why don't you just keep it there? And then yes, you're still going to probably get some sales still, because people don't all have PlayStation Plus. And it's like, why not keep the games that's old and that they're not going to be selling in no top 20 or even 100 probably? Why not just keep those games in your catalog for people to have? That doesn't make, and see, if it was Microsoft more of a threat, I think PlayStation would have done that. But and that's really the only,
they would have to.
Yeah, but they can actually. That's what I always found weird, is that they actually take out their first party games. I was like, wow, that they shouldn't just be temporary. I feel like those are the ones that, like, I can. Hey, if I want to play like somebody else's third party game that's on your service, I'll be like, I might want to rush to play that one because I know that's going to be there. Now you're telling me your own game's going to be there? And I get that, because you're paying licensing, you're doing all that. You had to make a deal with somebody. Yeah. Those first party games you own. That's why it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's almost feels like Disney vaulting it, right? Like, it's like, oh, you better buy the service now before Horizon's gone. It's like, but why? It's going to come back in a couple of months, right? Otherwise, like, what are you doing? It really doesn't make any sense. Because, it's not like they're going to be picking up a whole bunch of sales once it's no longer available. It just means that that's going to be dead. And it's especially weird if, to kind of continue these very smooth segues, like, why would you remove that game if you're going to have a new Horizon game coming out very soon? Well, I shouldn't say very soon. Let's say announced soon, because there's a lot of speculation that there's going to be some kind of showcase in the month of May. And one of the rumors is that there's going to be a Lego Horizon Zero Dawn game, which
is just the weirdest thing, like how hard Sony has latched onto this franchise despite a general like, okay, yeah, that game's good.
Yeah, I think
But like,
it was
it's
initially
not at the top of anybody's list.
Yeah, I think initially, yes, the first when it came out, yes, it was great, but it's been so many games that have done better since then that it fallen to the wayside. Like,
Yeah.
it was a game because I think it was a game that just came out at the kind of a wrong time. Like it came out, came out weeks before or days before Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, days before.
And but then the whole genre, that type of genre has just gotten better. That open world type genre and everything. I mean, it's gotten better since then. And
I mean, you even saw strong contenders from Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
At that point. So, yeah.
So now, like, yeah, it was a game that if it had came maybe some years before, oh, definitely. But and then with then with the second one, I didn't hear any big things about it. Like, I didn't hear that it was much big improvement from the first one. At least, I mean, I didn't hear about it. I'm not saying it didn't. I just that people weren't talking about it.
No.
Unfortunately.
And that got sacrificed to another big game. I can't remember which one. You know, something that came out like a week later.
Was it Elden Ring?
It was Elden Ring. Yep, that's exactly what it was. And then the fact that I think it was also hindered by the fact that it was on both systems. So you couldn't even point at it as like, hey, look at this big PlayStation 5 exclusive that's going to look incredible. That's not to say that game didn't look incredible and wasn't somewhat of an improvement over the PS4 version. But the fact that I could just say, well, I can play it on my PlayStation 4, I think brings it down a notch. It's not going to be your top thing if it's just everywhere. And that's it's interesting that they're pushing that series as hard as they are. And I don't know how much of that has to do with like Herman Holst being, you know, from Guerrilla Games transitioning into like a lead role at Sony Games. And then now is like, you know, top creative officer or whatever, taking the place of, what's his face that just left as like a co-CEO with another guy who's like the business guy. I don't know if that's just like almost nepotism where it's like, yeah, my baby game is getting all the deals, baby. I don't know if it's as simple as that. Like the idea of Horizon is dope. Like this kind of like prehistoric, but also futuristic metal clad dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that like, hey, Capcom, Dino Crisis, remember? Like it is a cool concept. Like people like dinosaurs and a lot of people like shooting dinosaurs, whether it be with bows or guns, what have you. That's not something that the video game industry should forget about. People like dinosaurs. But it's just been so flat. And, you know, I hate to like disparage Horizon because like a lot of the disparagement around that game is like shitty gamer takes of like, why does Aloy have a mustache and stuff like that? But like, that's not what this is. It's just that series doesn't have that extra bit of shine.
And,
you know,
I heard another rumor that I just saw people talking on the internet, so I don't know how much this is based. I mean, so, but that is going to be there's possibly a remaster of it.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk of that, I think at like the end of last year, which I wonder if that has anything to do with this Lego game, if maybe those things ended up being the same thing.
Yeah, that's why I'm really hoping that's it, that it just turned out to be a Lego game and it's not a remaster, because that is ridiculous. If they do that, that is freaking ridiculous. It is man, that is like that. I mean, like I said, this generation of gaming has really been a very disappointing. and it just was just further disappointment because it's like,
Yeah.
you already did The Last of Us. You did did they do Uncharted?
And no, they did like the collection.
Oh,
But
this
they
is the
didn't
class.
do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But maybe
Which is more
it a
reasonable. It's
is it a
really just The
PS5?
Last of Us. It's because they did The Last of Us 2 and then they did The Last of Us Part 1.
Yeah. And it's just like, what are you doing, man? I was like, come on, man. These games came out last generation, and The Last of Us was actually 2 generations ago, but technically they had a remaster last generation.
That's the problem. Yeah, they did a remaster already. And I will say, to like their credit, if the Horizon Zero Dawn, I think it's Amazon that was supposed to be doing that, or Netflix, I don't know. One of the streaming services was supposed to be making a TV show or a show of it. Like, if they put that out alongside the TV show, I would understand it. I wouldn't like it necessarily, but I would at least understand it, because we're seeing now with Fallout, like a lot of people clamoring for something Fallout related, and then Microsoft not really having the ability to do that. Now, to their credit, they did find a way, as it turns out, because I just saw this news, when I was looking yesterday, that they're going to be doing Fallout stuff in Fortnite. And like, to their credit, that's actually quite clever, because Fortnite is the game. It has literally every franchise in it now. And if you can't pump out your own game quick enough to monetize on the fervor around this TV show, get some armor into Fortnite, get some Vault Tech in there. And you know what? You can probably make a pretty penny off of that. So like, that is quite the way to do that. I will say, that's probably the smartest thing they could have done. And now maybe they've had this planned out forever. And, if I were them, I would have maybe announced it a little bit closer to the height of the TV show, which is weird to say, because we're only like a couple of weeks out of that show coming out. But when you allow people to binge it, you really just kind of, inflate that number right at the top, and then that's about it. The star burns very bright immediately. So gaming's really weird right now, Dominic. And we're going into the Summer Games Fest, and I think things will go back to their natural ways a little bit more for at least a couple of weeks. The gamers, us included, will be satiated for the most part with what we see over the next month or so. I'm interested to see how soon we find out things about this next Nintendo console. Whether that's going to be closer to the end of the year thing, because it's going to be probably, February, March when that launches. I wonder, but if Microsoft and Sony can both put out solid, showcases with games that we can believably see in the relatively near future, and I'm talking, in the next 12 months, then I think they can gain some of that goodwill back. Or I shouldn't even say goodwill. I should say apathy. Because it's not like people are even necessarily excited. It's like, oh, you brought me from super depressed with you closing all these studios to, okay, I'm here. I'll play your games, I guess. So, where does that put you, Dominic?
I mean, I think in the same way. Like it's more that like I just want I just want the competition to be a like legitimate competition that would actually be like, hey, this has something good there. Now see what you guys do, and say, oh, they did this. See what you guys do. I don't want it to be one side losing, or like one side losing it's bad, and
nobody wins. People lose jobs. We get less options. And with, even though Nintendo is its own thing, if Microsoft and Xbox are both competing and raising the bar, that does drag Nintendo along.
It does, because eventually, because, well, for me personally, like, even though, yeah, I like Nintendo games, but I'm gonna be like, I can pay for this Game Pass, I can pay for these AAA third party games that I do want. I can be patient and wait for them to have a decent price where I can get all the DLC, and yeah, I can see Nintendo. Yeah, that's a good game on Nintendo, but it's not like I'm not doing nothing on this other side here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I always said. Like, even though when the Microsoft, or like, but like with PlayStation and Microsoft, it's always like, even at the time when Microsoft was ahead and Sony was a little behind, there was games on Sony that people had fun with. It's like, yeah, it's not like, I never felt like, oh, I got this game, so they're not doing, it's like, oh yeah, I got this game, and then I guess people always brag, but it's not like, hey, I'm bored over here. Now, but it becomes that, because like now I'm seeing like there's no games nowhere really. Like, yeah. Like there's a moment like PlayStation had Spider-Man, but when Spider-Man was out, I got to play it because of you. But also, if I didn't have Spider-Man, I've been playing more Starfield or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm good. But there are times when there is, like, I think when last year, if you want to go by first party games, when Redfall came out, I don't know what else was out at the time. Like, for anywhere else, it's like we both lost. I feel like, because like, I got this sucky game 100%. And I don't have anything, so it's like, yeah. Well, we both lost. I was like, like that sucks. It's like there's no choice right here. We were looking at third party games at that point there, and I will give credit to Sony though. They do have, even though they have no personal first party exclusive, they made those deals, so it does cover them. I mean, if you like those games, like Final Fantasy VII remake, they got that, and that's big for the people who have that. Now, like, if you're a person like my friends, if they had gotten PlayStation, they have nothing. They have no interest in none of those games. That those, like, the Final Fantasies, even though they have PlayStation exclusive, it would suck for them because they don't play those games, so it's not a big deal for them. They like shooter games, which PlayStation really don't have. And Xbox hasn't really come out with anything recently. But they do have but people still play the older games though. People still play Gears. They're still on Gears. Then you have like I said, with the Game Pass, you have a choice of multiple games. Now, PlayStation Plus, they've gotten better with their stuff. It has definitely gotten better. So I give it to them. Like, now with the way things are going with Game Pass now, it's like PlayStation is even closer than ever with them to me. For me personally, I still think the price is really what kind of hurts it, and the confusion with the tiers. That's really messes up, and like in the PC, the whole the Play Anywhere part is really the downside with them. Yeah, I just want these. Yeah, I just need these guys to have better competition. Like, okay, I get it. Like, games, we're not going to get as many AAA games coming out like we used to. Like, because of just how production is. People, they're not trying to overwork people. Listen, hey, we don't want people to be overworked and forced out. And also, I want them to be smarter with their money also. I mean, I hope that comes to be at some point. It's too bad that it seems like it's being forced upon them because of the financial situation of the world now. Not just that they're just doing it because, But we're not going to get those games like flooding us like we used to. But I wish there was more smarter games coming out. Maybe we got those third parties to help some of these guys to help us out with that, and that's good. But that's why I like the idea of Game Pass or the PlayStation Plus or something along those lines, because then you can do deals with them, for they can come to your platform in that way, where I don't have to pony up a whole bunch of money, like keep buying each game. I can buy the service and I can be able to play these games so that I can have time. So when the waiting period between a big AAA game, it doesn't feel that long because I've been playing these other smaller studio games or whatever, in between. They've been taking up my time. But thing is, I'm not. I see that somewhat, but I'm not seeing that like just enough. Like I wish I could see that more. I mean, I want to see that more and the price be competitive and also good for us. But if Microsoft starts failing, I don't see that happening then, because then
Right.
Sony's gonna be like, why even focus on the PS Plus stuff? Like, then we don't need to, because if Game Pass is not, if it ends up not doing so well and it's not really being competitive, they don't have to, and Nintendo don't even have to think about it. And see where I want them all to think about something like that, so I can play games, because you only have so much time and money. How much time, money? I mean, time is really the biggest factor. You only got, but you can have all the money in the world, but you only got but so much time to play games. But also, I want to be able to have my money be worth the money though too, like for this, and for I can have a chance to play some of these games, because I'm not going to play all those small studio games. Even like especially at the bottom individually, because that means I have to.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much homework that has to take for me to even know about them. So I'm only going to know about the ones that people talk about. So I'm going to miss some that people probably don't talk about a lot. And then they're going to be they're going to be shut down. Everything gets shut down eventually. But it's just that I feel like there's a chance. They have a chance if you do a deal or something with some groups. But yeah, man, it's. I just hope it gets better. I hope it gets better. I hope all this doom and gloom, man, is just a momentary. It's these studios shutting down. Hope is that they shut these studios down, but it becomes good in the long run. Man, that's the only thing I can hope for. But I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I just hope I hope things change. To me, it just feels like, they're just, hey, money. Hey, they gotta keep making profit, so they gotta cut it somewhere. Because that's what it seems like around the world. It's like I see things get cut, but profits are still up, and which it's like, man, that's not supposed to work that way. It's supposed to be like, hey, you had a cut because y'all weren't doing so well.
Because things are going bad. Yeah. And they're like, no, it's going good, but it needs to go better now.
Yeah,
so.
It's like, profits ain't going as high. That's what it is. It's like, hey, we should be more profit. Yes.
Meanwhile, how are you going to profit if you shut down all your studios and don't have any games? Because that's what you've been doing for the last 10 years. You don't have any games releasing.
Yeah, you have all these. Yeah, now it's just a bunch of announcements. Like it was sounding good when he was announcing. That stuff is good, but we gotta have something come out, man.
Yeah,
like it's gotta be something. Yeah, there's gotta be some games coming out, and it sucks. Like I can say this, with Sony, at least with them, they weren't announcing, so we knew nothing was coming. We knew nothing. So that's still bad, but it's just that it's still bad. It's just a different type of bad. It's still bad. I'm not even gonna say what's worse. That's still bad. When you don't announce anything, there's like, darn, what the hell you got going on? But then when you announce, so I'm still not buying anything. You know what I mean? It's still nothing. Still nothing. Yeah, you telling me these things are coming out, and I still got nothing. Now, I guess it could be really, really, really bad if you went and bought a system for potential, and you're like, where the fucking game's at? Yeah, that pisses me off. But thing is, I find it funny that Sony's system is selling a lot, and they didn't announce anything. So I just felt like it's such a weird place we are in here. Like it's so weird. But then again, like I said, those third party games like Final Fantasy stuff, I'm sure there's a lot of people who probably bought the system because of that. Final Fantasy, they love Final Fantasy. That's a huge thing. And then all their friends got it already. You know, PlayStation they're with the brand and things of that nature. But other than that, yeah, man, I don't know. Like it's yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting, man. I really want to see. I hope I come out with something positive with this Game Fest.
Yep.
I hope it comes something positive.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like they're gonna price me out. I feel I'm just gonna be priced out, Daniel. I'm gonna have to find some way to game. I'm probably gonna definitely have to get a portable PC and start going on the dark web and learn how to steal stuff.
All right, Dominic. Before we shut this news section down, we got 2 more traditional stories, some game announcements.
One more. They are doing an update for Redfall. Redfall is they are getting that.
Oh yeah, I did see.
Yeah, the update that we thought was going to be canceled because they shut the studio down. They are going to do the update for you can play offline, which I totally forgot that was a thing. And yeah, down, and I remember now because that is so stupid that was a thing. But anyway, play offline and some other improvements too to the game. Yeah. So that's good because I think I'll jump back in just to try it out, just for the hell of it.
It's definitely a game that like interests me, even the way that it was being talked about. Like, yeah, I'm obviously not going to play like super multiplayer or anything like that. So bringing it offline is definitely a step in the right direction. But yeah,
I just want to be able to pause the game. That's all I was pissed off about.
To it.
I couldn't pause the game. Like I paused the game, the game was still going.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. Yeah.
Just the worst decisions that they make. All right, Dominic. Real quick though, EA Sports College Football 25. It's official. There's a trailer. July 19th for the PlayStation 5.
Yes, I showed my friends
and Xbox Series.
One of my friends on foot, he said basically what felt like I felt like you just hope it's not another Madden. You just hope it's not another Madden. Yeah. And then that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid it's going to just be another Madden. Like I can deal with the Ultimate Card stuff if it doesn't impact me playing by myself in like their well, it's not going to call franchises. Wherever their season mode, whatever it's called, I forgot what it's called. With the schools, Dynasty. They call it Dynasty. They used to call it Dynasty.
Graduation mode.
Yeah, whatever. I if it doesn't impact me on that, like if it doesn't, they don't do anything with me, telling me about that shit. Like keep that shit away from me. Like I don't care because when I saw things like Ultimate Team stuff, just like other people, he would say like, "Oh, I don't like that." And then you have the people who are like, "Ultimate Team was in 14." Well, I didn't like it then either. You son of a bitch. I never understand what people say when they always use that type of argument. When somebody doesn't like something, right, they go ahead and say it was in this. Oh, that makes it good. What the hell is that? Just means it was bad then too.
Yeah. Well, you liked this game and it had it. It's like, yeah, I like that game, but I didn't like that aspect of it, and I will continue to not like that aspect of it. Weird. And
like, yeah, so they do the Ultimate because they're all promoting that, like, hey, get this version for Ultimate Team, and then you got the whole like Madden Ultimate like NCAA bundle, whatever. But yeah, I mean, from the trailer though, it looks good. It looks, I mean, definitely compared to 10 years ago. It looked, I mean, I liked how they had the mascots and stuff, people doing everything, and how people were just really into it and stuff. So yeah, this is just like college football. Like these people are into it. This is their life. They will kill people over their teams if they could get away with it. Or if they're drunk enough. That's exactly the college life. Being in college, those people with those sports, man, they are just so into it. I find it always funny. People make fun of the Europeans with their soccer, which I mean, but rightfully so. Like those people get serious, and yes, there's not as many deaths in America over the sport, but there's it's still bad. You know what I mean? Like you can't just say one's worse, but also one, you gotta know where you're from. You know what I mean? Like that's like their only sport with some of those places. Like that's it. Yeah. That's their only outlet, really. Like that's their only way of relief from whatever they have to go through in life. We have so many stuff to do here, so it kind of spreads out for us. But we're
Not in the South, Dominic. No, they don't.
well,
It's
I'm
just
saying
football.
the South are into it more than we are. Than we are up here. But people are still into it. And now with gambling, oh my God. Now, I might not be killing at games, but I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of deaths at home. So a lot of people getting hurt. So look, like this stuff is all it's all bad. But I'm already a part of the system, Daniel. And that's the thing. I don't like people making excuses. Like I like people just to say, "Look, I'm a degenerate, and that's what I am." Don't make an excuse for it, though. Don't make an excuse. Don't make an excuse like, "Yeah, but sports do that." No. Just say you like it. Just accept it, and you know what? You're okay because all of America is generally just okay with it because there's so much money into it. They don't want that shit to go away. It's not gonna go away, man. So you're okay with it. Don't you have to make an excuse? Yes, you're a piece of shit, but it's a lot of other people piece of shit just like you, and that's why it's okay. But anyway, but no, college football. I'm happy it's back, but if it's just like Madden, then no, I'm not happy it's back. Then I don't care anymore. Yeah. I don't care.
I found it interesting how many shots in that trailer were like the backs of people's jerseys with their names on it.
Yeah, to show you that. Yeah, they got their
We got the people.
Yeah, they got the people there. Which
meanwhile, I'm like, those could just be made up names. I don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah, for you, because you already know them anyway. And for me, Daniel, I never cared. And me and my friends, we never played it for. That's why me and my friends, we never knew there was likenesses in the game. I never knew there was a likeness, and I still don't. And to this day, I still think that's flimsy because I still have looked at the evidence and it was like, it's flimsy. But I am happy the players, hey, they got what they got out of it.
Yeah,
like
getting
I'm happy.
paid for it now. That's good.
Though I just think it's a little flimsy, but I'm happy they got what they got out of it. But I never played it. I never cared about the names because I was like, I used to put the random names. They have a random name generator. And I was like, yeah, random names. Because I'm going to have these plays for 4 years, and I'm going to be attached for 4 years. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to build this guy up, and then he's going to graduate, and good luck to him. And his future world of whatever they go, when players go to in a video game.
Real estate.
Yeah, video game
when
real estate.
They fail at being in the NFL, and they just become real estate agents.
You know what? They should do that. Like, you should have, like, because they already got it where you can, like, get the draft, put them in the draft, which I'm curious if they're going to do that this year. They probably will have it where you can import your people to the draft. They should have it where they team up with like one of those simulator games, and like, oh, he's become a power washer or something like that. Oh, he's working on a farm simulator, or I know there's got to be like a real estate game too. Yeah. Oh yeah, the fixer upper homes. Say,
house flipper.
Yeah, house flipper.
House flipper.
Yeah, yep. Used to be like, hey, I used to play for Alabama, but now I'm just selling homes with my
ACL.
and that's what you do. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
I think we got something here, Dom.
Yeah, or they become criminals and they be in GTA.
Oh no. All right, Dominic. That's only if they bring back the 2K Sports football game.
Oh yeah, what was that called?
Get that tie-in. NFL 2K?
No, you said 2K Sports. I thought you were talking about like the hardcore one. Football game.
Oh yeah, the Blitz.
Yeah.
Blitz the League. What was the last one? All right, Dominic.
I get you saying 2K because of the company. Not my fault.
Yeah,
that went over my head, Daniel. Okay, gotcha.
It's all right. All right, one last game announcement, Dominic. This is kind of big too. Assassin's Creed Shadows. This is what we formerly knew as Assassin's Creed Red, I believe. This is coming out November 15th.
I wanted to edit this podcast.
You're going to have dual protagonists. You're going to have a samurai and a shinobi. And, it's just a CG trailer.
I didn't actually watch the trailer. Yeah, Daniel.
No, it looks like an Assassin's Creed trailer. There are two characters and they're killing some people, and yeah, it looks perfectly fine. I'm going to edit out the whole sports section because there was a lot we talked about, and but it's worth it. I want to keep in because I forgot about this, Daniel, and I just had to. I mean, it probably won't be long. I have to say about this. Okay, like
I do like the idea of Assassin's Creed is finally like in Japan, or people were talking about that going to like.
Of course, everybody's wanted Assassin's Creed in Japan forever.
Yeah, or like at least some or East or some in the East, the Asian some countries.
Yeah, but mostly.
Japan. Well, yeah, most Japan. Yeah, because people,
because they've got samurai, they got ninja.
Yeah,
like, that's what we want to see.
I mean, I'm more of a karate kid. But anyway, anyway, but yeah, so everybody, yeah, they wanted that. So, and then I told you that there was a rumor about the Black Samurai because that was going to probably be part of the story. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, it's true. I did not. I mean, because I didn't hear nobody complaining when they heard the rumor. I mean, at least maybe because I didn't see it. And I ain't going to say that people were.
Yeah.
But the amount of hate for this, but it's based off a real person. But then
Yasuke.
Yeah, it's based off a real person. So that's why at first I was understanding the hate. I was like, well, so why are people hating it? They can't say they're just forcing a black person in a role or something.
Oh no, they're still finding a way to do that, Dominic. Don't you worry.
Yeah, and then they said, well, Asuke, he
DI hires of Assassin's Creed main characters, apparently.
Like some people say he wasn't really a samurai and this stuff. And then I'm like,
oh yeah, there's all that, yeah.
Like, and then to a point where I'm like, the
mental gymnastics of these people.
That's the problem I have. Then I'm like, you know what? People, I tell you this, you will feel so much free when you get to say who you want to be. Like people who are transgender, who say they're a woman, or people who say they're gay, they come out saying they're gay. Listen to the stories of how free they feel. Just say you fucking hate black people. You will be free. You will just say, look, I don't like niggas. I just don't like them. And you will feel so much better. And like it would be a weight lift off you. And we would just know. So we were just like, okay, you don't like them. Like, because you're making the excuses of why you don't like black people when you're trying to say, I'm not being racist.
All of a sudden, I'm so concerned that there's not a straight Asian male lead in a game.
It's so much work to do that. I know it takes so much work for you to find that, like, how can I say this? But I'm not racist. Like, no, I believe that you're not racist. But just look into yourself and you realize, you know what? I don't like black people. And I just wanted to be just people who are not black in these roles. And if it was a white person who was in this role, in this Asian role, I would have been okay with it too. Even though that's might be wrong.
The Tom Cruise Last Samurai game?
Yeah. And then, but, and look, you won't have to go through all the mental gymnastics. You don't do none of that. And you'll just be free. You'll be like, there we go. I'm just racist. And
it really does just have to be exhausting, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, goodness gracious, Daniel, when I was reading those comments, because I was really just trying to see from their point of view, like, I understand. But then I'm like, this is a real person now. This ain't not because I would be now if this was a fake guy and they just put him in, I would understand. I wouldn't be angry though about it because then again I was like, it is fantasy. This is Assassin's Creed. It's not.
Yeah, this is Assassin's Creed. They go into somebody's brain computer and relive past memories. Like,
but I also get that they usually try to be a little like with the history. They do
a little. Little. It's always loose though.
But yeah, it is. But I'm saying, but it's not like you couldn't. It's still even if you put like, oh, this guy came from whatever story you make that he came from somewhere else and he lived in Japan. It can still be during a time period of some that really happened, right? But he was just there. It doesn't mean like, I mean, so I mean, it doesn't matter. Like you still can have the history stuff. Like I wouldn't be angry, but I can still see your argument. I mean, I would still think you, sorry, in the back of my mind, I would still think you racist, but I would say like, yeah, I will have a, like, it would be hard for me to prove it though. You know, like you would have a legitimate argument that I can just say like, that's a good argument. I think you're racist, but you got something there. Yes, you got something.
All the breadcrumbs are there, but the murder weapon is not.
Yeah, you got something. Now, I don't know what you got Like, I honestly don't know. I can't find like something where it's like you're not just being racist right now, dude. Like, there's no reason for you to like the hate you have for this, or to say that they're wrong for doing this. And then, like, I even see some people who I don't even know if they're even really Asian per se. Yeah, as a person who is Japanese, I really wanted to be able to play a Japanese character, and then somebody said, "Well, you have the woman," and then somebody said, "No, they don't really have the woman. They're just looking for a man. They're just looking to play as a Japanese man who's not black, or whatever."
But also, there are already so many games set in Japan.
And somebody did that too.
Play.
Somebody did. They showed them and said, "Oh, well, here's the other games with Japanese lead characters you can play as."
And New release this week, Ghost of Tsushima on PC.
Amy, that annual, I was just like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Like, here's the front. I'm not mad at you for not liking this. Like, because I just know that people are racist. Like, that's just what it is. I'm just mad that you're making the excuse of trying to make it that you're not being racist. That's what pisses me off more. Is you not
I'm being unracist, Dominic, that I'm worried about the Japanese community not getting representation. How dare you?
Like you make it that you're not racist. Like why are you making the excuse? Just say you are, dude. Like, it's okay. Like, dude, fine. I mean, it's okay. Not really. It's not really okay. But hey, look at all the people up here. You got a lot of people just like you, so you're good. it's like,
plus, you're doing it anyway, so like, why not just let me know so that I can avoid you?
Don't try to talk me into how it's wrong and how like they're replacing you. I'm like, you realize I don't get
great
it.
Replacement theory.
It's your people that make these fucking games, most of them.
No. These are Europeans, Dominic. I don't trust them.
Yeah,
they're
whatever.
The French.
But even when y'all do say diversity, even for the left, when y'all say you're diverse, there are just people who assimilated and are you. All I'm saying is this: if I see an Asian dude and his name is Steve, yeah, he just wanted to be you. He's not diversity, because his name would not be Steve. Like he would have, his name would not be Steve like Chen. It would be a freaking Chinese name or something, or whatever, Korean or whatever they are. They wouldn't have used your name just for you can feel easier to say their name and feel more comfortable saying their name. Like, they're you. They're still you. And that's the thing. And that's another thing, like, people don't realize. Like, when people say white, we're not talking about skin color. People still talk about, like, a skin color. Which I'm like, come on, man. Y'all know now it's just a status. It's just a status. Like, white is not just about skin color. It's really just, like, where you are and like, the hierarchy. And, whatever. Because that's why, like, some people try to pull off like they're not racist. Like, they say, hey, I got, like, either the black friend, or they like with Asians, or, with some, like, East Asians, or Indian, or something like that. But I was like, yo, those are just people who, they just act like you. they just do like you, buddy. That's not diversity. That's not, like if they're just being like you, they're just being like white people. That's all. And they don't complain about anything. The complaints they have is the same complaints you have.
That's what we like the best, Dominic.
Yeah, man, that just
the discourse around this game has just been absolutely insane in regards to that. Meanwhile, like, to me, it's the most compelling that Assassin's Creed has been in a while, because they're doing two different characters.
For me too, yeah.
Without
the black, like, Daniel, it could have been just
doing that
Japanese. It could have been just Japanese guy. I would have still thought more compelling, just because of
absolutely,
yeah. But to actually, because I don't know this guy. I heard the name before.
Me neither.
But I don't know this guy.
That's why now I'm like, oh, what's this all about? What was he doing over there? What is, Yeah, I just, it's like you said, it's just so obvious and so blatant at this point. Like, it really brings out the grossest of people.
I could say that's the good thing about social media. Like, for all the people who before my early life who said like, yeah, we're in a post-racial time, this has social media has shown like, oh, it's never gone away.
Proof otherwise.
It's never gone away. And then it also taught me like,
oh, but why are you so worried about Dominic?
Why did I think that just because the Civil Rights Act happened in 1964, it will only take like 40 years or so for racism to disappear? Why the hell would I think that? Like, what kind of change is that? Like, nobody changes
so
like
naive,
that.
Dominic. How dare you?
A country that was built on freaking slavery, why the fuck would I just think, like, oh, we're all good now? Like, what the fuck?
Snap of the fingers overnight. We
like,
fixed it, Dominic.
Are you freaking serious? It's just like, boy, was I stupid. And then I blame those people, too, who taught me, though, too. Like, you people, you sons of bitches. And like, just because you live in a certain area where it's like, hey, I don't hear nobody call me names or nothing, you know, blah, 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 say anything, which it didn't. Man, I grew up and nobody saying, yeah, I never heard anything being racist or stuff to me, like knowingly being racist. There's a lot of black people who feel that way. But I understand, but I also understand that there are places like that. And there's a way racism works that is not so blatant. Like, in your face too. Thing is, I didn't realize, yeah, like most of us don't realize we were freaking zoned off from areas like in areas like you realize like, oh, that's why I'm just like there's only like black people in this area, or why is this area don't get as much money as another area, something like that.
Yeah.
See, then you start learning things like that. Yeah, nobody's calling you names, nobody's saying anything about you, but then you see like, oh. Yeah. And then I always wonder, like, hey, why are there any white people around here? Like, used to be a lot of white people in this area when I was little. That mall was a lot of white people. When I remember I was a little kid, I saw a lot of white people. Johnny Cake was a white neighborhood.
Yeah.
When I was younger. Because when my sister played softball, she was the only black girl on the team. When it got to me, like, up to close to high school or so, I see 2 white people on the team. Mostly black.
Yeah.
I was like, where'd they go?
I mean, that's Woodlawn. When my sister's mother went there, it was predominantly white. And when I went there, I was one of maybe 3 white guys going there, you know?
Yeah.
It just progressively, you know, they moved away and, you know, and got further out and closer to Columbia and things of that nature and further away from the city. And that's just how it seemed to go.
Yeah, it sucks. And I keep hearing things about Baltimore City, and I like how to stop these crimes of these youths, because there's a lot of scars that's with youths, crimes with youths, and honestly, I have no idea how you stop it. Honestly, I mean, I know some of the rules of like arresting people, they just when they let people out, but I don't know really the details on that. But all I see when I watch Fox News, like our local Fox News, not the, but it's still the local Fox News. That's all they talk about is that.
It's owned by the same,
and
it's not owned by the same people. It's owned by the people who used to own Ring of Honor, who were just as bad.
So I listening to that, and I'm just like, but none of them have solutions. There's nobody.
No,
they ask.
No, it's just fear mongering. That's all it is.
And like they just say like, yeah, this mayor has got to stop this. Now I get that. Yes, the mayor. I mean,
mayor should be doing something.
Yeah. I know. I totally agree. He needs to do. Yes,
they should have a solution.
Yeah,
well, they should have ideas for solutions.
Asking these people though, these citizens and stuff, and when they say that, it's like, yeah, what do you do? Because I mean, I don't know either. And then or sometimes,
as it turns out,
to find out what to do, you gotta know why it's happening too. Mm-hmm. And there's many reasons. Like I know the easiest reason to do is just to blame the parents. That's the easy reason. I mean, and I mean that is a reason. And I'm just legitimate. That is a reason.
Sure.
But then like, why are these parents are worse than where the parents further back. Like, what happened? I mean, you gotta. I mean, you just have to do some. You gotta do some real investigation. But then you're gonna get.
If the parents aren't around, why aren't they around?
And then
what led to that?
So, but you're gonna get answers that you don't want to hear. That's why you go too deep.
Exactly.
You're gonna get some things you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear it.
Oh, that's the exact thing. You're absolutely right about that. Is like, you've got so many people talking about what the problems are, but they don't have any solutions. And the reality is the solutions are complicated, but that's why we as a society need to work together to solve those. But instead, it's really
we're together to box them in.
They're causing all of my problems.
To keep them away from Camden Yards and Ravens games. That's what we need to do, Daniel, so we can be safe to go to Camden Yards and Ravens.
So we're going to build that wall, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we gotta, and the harbor, and Fells Point, keep them away from those areas. And Towson, because they come out to Towson.
Oh no, not all the way up to Towson.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing a lot of things, and Towson's really gone up. Yeah, because I remember.
Well, I mean, Towson's been.
I remember, like, I think I saw somewhere where it was like, oh, this area, like Canton, Towson, and I'm trying to think of another white Baltimore area. Like, they went up like 400% in crime. I was like, how much crime was there before? Like, what was the exact number? Because
it went from 1 to 4.
No, not saying there was no crime, and no, listen, 400% is a lot, no matter what. But I also need, but at that point,
context.
I need to know the exact number, because the murders in Baltimore County, I think they were at 40 something before, and that's a big number apparently for Baltimore County. I come from the city, so when I heard 40 something, I was thinking, man, that's pretty damn good. And then
was that just this weekend?
I was like, what? But they was like, man, that's way up from years ago. And I was like, holy shit, that's a increase. Baltimore City would love to get 40 murders. And so I was like. I'm used to. Listen, I was like, man, we're at the point where 100 murders will be good, and that's freaking sad. I mean, that's also sad on my end too, because how the city was going up to 300 and stuff. I was like, man, I remember when the 100 murders was bad when I was young. When I heard one time, I said, man, the murders went to 100. I said, oh damn, 100 people freaking got murdered. Now I'm at the point where if you go down 100 people, it's like, oh man, that's good. It's a good year. It's a good year. It's a pretty fucked up. And then I'm here looking at Baltimore County thinking like 40 something is good. That's actually pretty bad for them. And I'm like, wow, 40. I said, but that also should tell you too that, wait a minute, that means things are happening, like something's going on. And I think it's connected, because I think, hey, if the murders are going up everywhere, then like what's going on then? Like people, jobs, people losing jobs, not enough money, stuff like that. I think that's some connection. It's not just that, like, oh, we just need to arrest people. I don't know, man. People get desperate.
I mean, what is that gonna do except fill
that'll stop
jails
like,
to the point where we can't do it.
People ain't gonna turn. The people who are here ain't gonna turn to it. Yeah, people know, but when things happen out of their control. If things happen out of people's control, you don't know what people can do.
Exactly. if that's the option if that's the only option they feel like they have, like what is arrest going to do to solve that problem? Like it's just so wild that people aren't willing to look at the root causes of issues or even accept what some of them may be to try and find a solution instead.
Normal people, because I mean, that's everybody. I mean, that's human nature. Like because you want it to be the simplest thing, something that's simple that can be fixed. Like, but in politicians, a lot of politicians, I ain't gonna say all of them, but some of them, they know what the real problem is. They know exactly what the problem is. But they don't want to fix it. That's the thing. They know fixing it not only is going to be hard, it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them, not just politically, but financially. It's going to hurt people they know and stuff.
I hate how real that is, but I agree that is
like,
quite true.
Because the transformation that has to be done is going to be so game change. It's going to be so much change that people ain't going to be ready for it. And it sucks. and that has come to that. But I'm sorry, that's when you have to blame your forefathers. You should have blamed your forefathers for that shit. You had your chance during the Civil War to fix all that shit. A lot of shit, and I ain't just talking about reparations. Y'all could have freaking, because the whole Confederacy shit thing, that should have been killed. I mean, how do you be a traitor but still be allowed to fly your flag? It's like the Confederacy didn't
fly your flag.
Like
have power.
They lost a war.
Be given power and money.
They lost. It's almost like this is the loss of battle. They didn't lose a war. They lost a battle because it's like they didn't really lose. It's like, some people got killed and stuff like that. But hey, that wasn't a loss. That wasn't really a loss. Yeah, it's freaking, man. This country, darn. I guess we're on this soapbox, man. Damn. It's a hell of a podcast. All right.
Video games, Dominic.
Yeah. But hey, it started with people being racist about goddamn Assassin's Creed. See, they didn't be racist about it when they're gone that route, Danny. God damn, they doing something really different, man. Something that I didn't even know about, but then people still find hate for it. Even when it's a real character. Even as not real character, but a real person.
A real person.
They're still find a way. It's like, oh, you just had to put a black person in there. Because you got it. It was something different. I mean, because honestly, there have been samurai games with Japanese people. The Japanese people actually made them. Japanese people actually made them. They're actually doing something that's creative. Like, nobody talks about this black character, and then you got a female ninja. I mean, Japanese ninja. That's kind of cool for me. I was like, okay, let's see where this goes.
Yep.
But you had a freaking game about the Norse god. You had your freaking Norse game. God damn it. Damn. You had the American game, even though he was half American Indian.
I'll say no. That's the problem right there, Dominic.
Oh, you had your Caribbean white man pirate.
That's the funny thing is, like, all these people who are like, oh well, typically it was set in Italy, so they had an Italian man, and it was set in the Middle East, so you had a Muslim, and it's like, yeah. And then it was set in the Caribbean, and you had a British dude, and then it was set in wherever it was for Rogue, and you had an Irish dude. Like, what are you talking about here? Like, it's so stupid that we can't just have creative concepts. Like, let's evolve the genre here. For once, Ubisoft is trying to do something creative, and you just can't let the racism just chill out. Can't do it. It's ingrained into you.
Yeah. All right.
Hair trigger with it, Dominic. Took that mask off, saw his skin, and was like, oh. They're blood boiled, I guess.
I know. And I bet you most of them didn't even know about the character, so they just assumed that. And then when they finally read about it, that it was a real person, they was like, I'm already on that other side.
Yep. I'm committed. I'm committed. So like, okay, like, he wasn't a samurai.
Nope. I'm committed, and you didn't do no. God damn, it's like, nah, no, F that. They could have used all these Japanese people, and they had to put this.
He only worked for the emperor and carried around a sword. He wasn't a samurai. That doesn't count.
It's like they're giving him more of a story. I mean, what the fuck? What's wrong with that? Well, what about the story of George Washington and the fucking 3 then? Why? Come on, man. Y'all want the fake stories of y'all freaking presidencies, old presidents and stuff like that. That's a story I was told. I was told about Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, all good things, man. I went to a school that was called Thomas Jefferson. And then I was taught and then even with slaves, he was taught he was good with the slaves. I was like, what the fuck does that even mean now? Now I'm older, I'm like, man, what the fuck? I should have asked my teacher, what the fuck does that even mean?
It means he had non-consensual sex with them.
He didn't beat him a lot. That's like, what the hell does it mean as a good slave owner? All right. All right. I guess we can wrap it up. Is there any new game releases? What we got here?
Yeah, we got new releases real quick. We'll just go down them real quick. Animal Well, talked about that.
Yep.
PC, Nintendo Switch, PS5, part of PlayStation Premium. Check that
We got
out
some
there.
animal games in here, man. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, Crow Country, PC, PS5, PS4. I've heard about this as like a survival horror, kind of in the vein of like
I saw it.
PlayStation. I haven't seen it yet. I'm interested to see what it actually looks like.
It kind of looks like a game that could have been on PlayStation.
Yeah. Little Kitty Big City, that's out on PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox.
Bod.
That's on. I think we all do.
Yeah, I want the little dog. Yeah, and because every review I was reading is like, hey, I own a cat. So, oh, you bunch of freaking lazy ass pet owners. I mean, y'all just one step away from a goldfish owner. I mean, at least with bird owners, in a cage, but they gotta keep cleaning up that shit. Like birds shit a lot, but the cat, I mean, that easy ass litter box. Come on, man, and you don't have to do nothing.
Well, this kitty is out in the big city, Dominic. So she's doing it on her own.
Can you die in this game?
You know what? I don't know.
It doesn't look like a game you can die in.
So
honestly,
no, it doesn't.
It looks too though I wish you could, because I would definitely be going to the street all the time.
Just running in the cars.
But the cars probably stop.
Braid Anniversary Edition, Dominic. That's out on PC, Nintendo Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and phones, where you can play it as part of the Netflix thing. Netflix is doing like a beta version through their website of being able to play video games now instead of exclusively on phones. But
and using the controller?
Did not appear to be part of it. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yep. I just plugged USB-C to USB-C for the Xbox controller right in, and it was like, hey, you want to see the controller? And then I was away. Vibration works and everything. Perfectly fine. Lorelei and the Laser Eye, that's now out on PC and Switch.
Wait a minute. Is this a good game?
Yeah, I haven't seen reviews for it, honestly, yet. But it is... Who is it from? It's from something familiar. Let's see.
Oh, we're looking that up. I know there's an update for the Diablo 4 that's out now, and that's some people are saying that's really makes the game better than before.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Though I had to play through the campaign first before I even get to some stuff, so and plus I wouldn't know anyway because I didn't play. I played it originally.
Yeah, the Lorelei and the Laser Eye is from the same team that did Sayonara Wild Hearts and Device 6. Device 6, I think, was like a phone game. And Sayonara Wild Hearts. That was like big on the Nintendo Switch for a little bit there. It did look kind of interesting. And then Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut is now out on the PC. I know some people are not happy about the PlayStation overlay stuff and the integration of that. It feels like that's just about time for them to do that, though, right? Like if they're going to get more serious about releasing PC games, I want to be able to get trophies in my Sony PlayStation games. Like I don't have a problem with that. I mean, obviously there are complications for people in countries where the PlayStation Network does not exist. That's, a whole nother wrinkle. But for the majority of the people who I'd imagine are actually complaining about this, who are probably in, America or some big European country, it's probably not a big deal. Just log in again and deal with it. So yeah, I'm glad that game is out on PC now. That is a game that seems like it's a very good game. And one of these days I would like to get around to playing it. So the more people who can play it, so they can, not have to worry about their black samurais, the better, Dominic.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's almost like Ubisoft was like, we should release this trailer the same week that Ghost of Tsushima releases, so we can say, hey, if you want a Japanese protagonist or Japanese male protagonist, I'm sorry, then here's the game for you. Yeah. Our partners at Sony have that game for
That's
you.
The thing. It's still a female one, but they're showing like, oh yeah, I hate women.
Yep.
Or not hate. See, I don't want to be that thing. I know there's plenty of people who say that they hate women. No, I know they don't hate women. They want women in a certain place. Put it like that. They love them. They hate women who
you were just tying this right back around, Dominic. Just back to that commencement speech.
they hate women. Yeah, they hate women
that may not make it into the podcast.
Having any sort of like power or structure, like just be behind the man.
She should really ask her husband
to be behind
to do the revenge for her, Dominic.
Yes, yeah.
That's what it should be. At the beginning of the game, I want her whole family killed and the village burned down. And then I want a scene of her going to her husband and going, hey, can you exact revenge for me? That's what they want. That's what those people want, Dominic.
Because I can relate to
on the internet.
I get it.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard for them to relate to ever having experienced.
I was like, are these the same nurses like Xena? Because I could have sworn a lot of nurses like Xena.
That was a different time, Dominic. I'm pretty sure, like, if a new Xena came out, they would be like, "Oh, this is too woke. This is DEI Hercules or whatever."
Yeah. Yeah, I used to love.
I like Xena better than Hercules in the '90s, Dominic.
I think it was more popular too. But I like Xena better than Hercules.
Yeah.
What'd you say in the 90s? What'd you say in the 90s? What was it?
I said we were more progressive in the 90s.
I really think we were, Daniel. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, as much as, like, in some ways, yeah, we weren't, but I think in a lot, yeah. Because I just never thought of these things, like, and then seeing people, just the reaction to people. And to prove me wrong. Because I'm saying, like, man, people ain't like this. And then I'm looking at it and I say, what the fuck? It's like, what the,
I think that's the problem. It's more that it's just mask off on the internet. It's more accessible now. Yeah. Like, there were probably still people feeling this way in the 90s and probably more, but we didn't have to see their stupid opinions.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I think that's probably what it was. You know, there's one kid at school that's like, yeah, Xena's gay or whatever. It's like, what are you talking about?
I did.
Yes, I guess she is.
I wanted her to be with Gabrielle. I think that's her name was.
Something like that.
Yeah. Cause I know, I was like
90s kids know who you're talking about, Dominic.
All right. So I guess that's it.
I think that's it. This has been a journey, Dominic. Yeah, so thank you guys as always for listening. You can check us out on Twitter. Dominic's at DStalwart5. I'm at RegulusMB. Podcast is at Superpod. SUPAPOD. Superpod.com is the website. You can check us out there. It has links to all the places you can find us, including YouTube, where there's a video version of this podcast, as well as iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube Music, Amazon, Spotify, any of those places you can find us. Until next time, guys. Talk to you later.
All right, see you.